Yes, guys, you know what time it is. It's your boy David at the Irish Hotspur, Ireland's #1 Spurs fan, bringing you the player ratings from yesterday's absolute disastrous game and a 3-2 defeat to Southampton. And here with us to go through it is, of course, that co-host Jack. We have Cuva99 and we have Dermot as well, both from Tottenham Tantrum Gold. We're just going to basically go through, find out what the guys' thoughts on yesterday's game. A couple more questions to ask. A lot of split opinions in the fan base. Is the season over, or are we just too reactionary? I want to find out off the panel as well where they stand on it, and I want to find out what they think, what Conte meant when he said we have mental instability in the team, and that's why we lost yesterday, which I found very, very interesting. Seems like something we've been talking about for quite some time. So I want to delve straight into that, and then of course we will be doing player ratings as well. I'm touching on each individual's performance and a little bit on what we saw yesterday. But we'll start with Jack. Jack, how are you, my man?
Not really doing so great, Dave, after that result. I'm kind of like you. I kind of just want to pick it up and move on and not make too many conclusions until the Wolves result, until that kind of comes through the door. Then I'd probably make some big grandiose conclusions. But for me, Dave, I'm looking forward to being joined by Tottenham Tantrum Gold, Kuva and Dermot for the play ratings. Because, Dave, you and I are in our kind of own little bubble, you'd probably say, when we're kind of doing our play ratings, when it comes to it. So I'd like to see whether they kind of pop it on a few kind of certain ratings that we give players. But looking forward to what they have to say on the game, and as well as maybe what Conte had to say, but also, like I said, on maybe some of the player ratings.
Yeah, I don't think there'll be too many disagreements with the player ratings today, to be honest with you. I think a lot of people are unhappy and angry with yesterday. But look, we'll start with Dermot. Dermot, how are you keeping, my man?
Yeah, I'm all right. A bit deflected from yesterday, but it's a new day. We pick ourselves up again, we dust ourselves down, and we go again. Because we're the mighty Spurs, so that's how I see it.
Do you know what? That's the attitude. I absolutely love the attitude, Dermot. Big yourself up, my man. And Kuva, how are you keeping, brother?
I'm doing well, thank you, David. Good to be on the show again. Been a little while now. Just sort of recovering. A bit of a slap in the face, that result last night, wasn't it?
Yeah, it feels like a hangover, to be honest with you. Do you know what? I just didn't see it coming. I really thought we were going to win that game. I just did not see it coming. Still upset about it. But look, we like Dermot said, we just have to dust ourselves down and move on. And like Jack was saying, we just have to maybe wait to see what the Wolf game churns out before we kind of maybe delve into maybe formations and stuff like that again. And the reason why we say that is because it was the same team, same formation, everything against Brighton that we played last night, and it's just two contrasting performances. So Brighton, the Wolves game will be very, very interesting. But look, let's see what Irish Hotspur Army we have in the building with us this evening. We have Welsh Gal, big yourself up. Not a good night last night for the boys, but we pick ourselves up and go again. Hashtag Harris Army. Hashtag love a flat cap. Now, big yourself up. That's exactly the attitude we need to adopt after yesterday's defeat. But big yourself up. Thank you for tuning in again, Welsh Gal. Dinosaur says the David Kane pump up had me betting 50 quid on Kane scoring yesterday. No cookie, no ice cream, and no New York hot dogs. For me, no. Look, honestly, all the stats was pointing to Kane scoring, but I did say Sonny as well. I did mention Sonny grabbing a goal against Southampton. I did say over 2.5 goals, so maybe Kane not scoring was the only one that let us down. But he was so close, man, so close. That header, he done all things right, like you're taught. Header it downwards. But I think he got too much on it, down into ground and over the bar. It's a freak miss. 9 times out of 10 they go in, Dino. But no, look, you'll win it back next week. I'll give you a bet for the Wolves game. You'll win it back, my man. Big yourself up. Sue Smith says, hashtag Harris Army. Saints were deserving last night, but how crap were we? Thought Nuno had come back at one stage. Yes, Sue, we were absolutely abysmal yesterday. I'll be honest, we just didn't turn up. We just did not turn up. I'll be honest. Look, first 18 minutes, actually, I thought we were okay. I mean, we had a goal disallowed. We scored an own goal, and Regular missed a huge chance. First 18 minutes, I thought we were fine, but after that, we just completely collapsed. And at stages, it did feel like Nuno was back in. George Hill says, big up David, Jacko, Kuva, and Dermot. Looking forward to the banger as always. The usual suspects were back at it again after the window closed. Surprise, disappointing. but we move on. No, look, it's same players that I always call out seem to be still here letting me down, and it pisses me off. It really does get to me. But look, it's not just on them. Everybody was poor yesterday, the whole team from 1 to 11. But maybe Hugo and Reguilon probably, and Romero, the 3 exceptions maybe, but the rest, not great yesterday, not great whatsoever. And it's just kind of like, yeah, I think the players that you're talking or that you have in mind, George, yeah, maybe they were mistakes, were probably more costly than the others. But look, it was everybody yesterday. But yeah, I do get what you're saying, George. It is kind of the same old people, my man. But big
up, George. Legend out of Buffalo. Big up, George.
Yeah, my man. Big up, George. Yeah, I love the old crest as well. I have a jersey with that crest on it. What a legend. Chris Eigenbar says, big up, David and panel. Big up, Chris. I hope you're keeping well today. The Spurs fan, nobody gets more than a 5 except Lloris and Bentancur. Big up the Spurs fan. Big up. Please don't crucify us. Do not crucify us.
Your fault, harsh.
Brian Maguire says, Tottenham till I die. Exactly that. Exactly that. Brian C. Socrates says, lads, this one is hard to take. When will we level up and grind out the win?
Yeah.
When we have the opportunity. No words of wisdom tonight, lads. A new approach and a win against Wolves badly needed. Come on, you Spurs. No, for sure. Look, win is bad. Look, I'll be honest with you. I actually think we will beat Wolves. It's like Tottenham. You lose Southampton, you go and beat Wolves. It's, because there's no pressure on that game. Everyone was talking about beating Southampton and, then going on and beating Wolves with top fours in our own hands and stuff like that. But there's no pressure on the Wolves game now. So it wouldn't surprise me if we go and beat them now, Brian. But big yourself up, my man. It's just, yesterday it was deflating.
Big up Socrates. When he has no words of wisdom for it, Dave, I think it just says that we just need a bit more time for even Socrates, to get his mind around things.
No, 100%, lad. Tottenham Tantrum Gold. Dermot on the panel as well. Dermot, do you want to do the intro this time?
No, you do it, Dave. Go on.
There's no mic dropping
live from Ireland and Brooklyn, New York. It's here. It's the time we have all been waiting for, with thousands in attendance. And all that's left to say is let's get ready to rumble. Introducing David, the Irish Hotspur Harris, and his partner in crime, Jack Stats Man Kanicki. Big yourself up there. I hope you like the passion.
I couldn't resist. I couldn't resist putting that in tonight.
I noticed how David's name gets capitalized and Jack didn't.
Yeah,
so I'd see it.
I didn't know
favoritism there.
Yeah, probably a bit of favoritism. Kind of like capitalizing mom, versus dad, and things like that. It's a.
Don't worry, Jack. You've got to be Irish.
Irish man gets capitalized. Yeah.
Zoe's in the building, says, big up, lads. Yesterday was a tough one to take. We move on and we get better. I'm still hopeful of a result against the puppies from Wolverhampton. Class panel, as always. Come on, you Spurs.
Legend,
big up,
Zoe.
Big yourself up. And look, it is important not to dwell on this too long. I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the first time we've been defeated when we've took a lead in the game this season. And it kind of just some of the stuff I've seen and some of the stats I've seen and that, and from what I watched yesterday with all the players, it does make me feel it is more of a bad day at the office rather than something that's going to continue, in my opinion.
Big up, Zoe.
Big up, Zoe. Ben Kaufman's in the building. Big up the coffee master. My man, I hope you're keeping well. Big up, Benji boy. William Pretty is in the house. How we going? How we doing? Yeah, well, as good as can be, to be honest with you, my man. Still, I'll be honest with you, I'm absolutely still fuming over yesterday's result. I'm just trying to hide it because I go,
big up, Paro.
I go absolutely nuts, and I don't want to. I want to hold it in. Para Miguel Escobardo, evening all the way from Lagos. Big yourself up, my man. Dan Ends in the building. The season's not over, but we need to turn it around in short order if we want to hang on to a hope of top 4. Now, 100%, Danny boy. Simon Stevens says, it was one of those games every team has. We couldn't account for Southampton having the inspiration to have the game of their lives. Frustrating not to have effective options off the bench, though. No, that's fair. That's fair. Mick Hermelak says, good evening, lads. A bit late joining. No, you're never too late. You're actually early, my man. Early. You haven't even got into it yet. Big up, Mickey boy.
Big yourself up, Mick. Big yourself up, Simon. Big yourself up, Paro. Simon and Paro, big legends of the Flat Cap channel as well. So big yourselves up. But Mick,
no,
never late. Never late.
Never. Peter Simon says, Lloris was outstanding. Yeah, he had a decent enough game yesterday, to be fair to the guy. Bobby K is in the building. Big up, Bobby. He says, big up, lads. Come on, you Spurs, we need to bounce back from that terrible display. If Royale starts again, we are all going to be having massive stress attacks. I'll be honest with you, I actually do think he probably needs to be dropped for a game or two, just to maybe see if he clicks in his mind, see if he gets it. But I don't really want to be putting Doherty back in there either. But yesterday was absolutely atrocious, Bobby. It was atrocious. Dave Tyson says, "Evening, lads. Big up, Dave. I hope you're keeping well, my man. We have Jerome in the building as well. Big up, Jerome." He says,
Big up, Jerome.
"Big up, lads. Hope you were all feeling better because it was a hard one to take."
Was.
Yesterday was so hard to take. I'm not gonna lie. As soon as it was kind of finished, I'm not gonna lie. I lied on the couch and I had a little strop. I didn't have the telly on or anything. I was just sitting there moaning and stropping. I'm not going to lie. Moondog's in the building. He says, "Good evening, guys. Moondog, I hope you're keeping well. Hopefully you can put us in better spirits after yesterday, Moondog. But big yourself up. Let me know if you did win any money, though, because I know you're a betting man and you probably had a crafty bet on or two. So do let me know if you won anything, brother. But big yourself up, Moondog. But look, guys, we'll start with Jack. Jack, what is your thoughts on yesterday's game?
I don't know, David. It feels like a situation where I have seen a bit of Newcastle this season, or sorry, Southampton this season. And with Southampton, Dave, I feel like they did play at an exceptional level, a level that I really haven't seen them really play before. I think we need to kind of get that out of the way, kind of maybe swallow the pill here and kind of just give them their props for playing yet again another really excellent display against us. And I feel like they played at a ridiculously high level that I kind of thought they wouldn't. I kind of thought they would sit back for maybe a bit more of this game playing away from home, but they did actually come out of the gates. They came out with their style. They tried to rattle our cage, and they did rattle our cage. And I think we kind of have to give them credit for that. Getting that out of the way, Dave. Now I can say that. And when it comes to Spurs, it feels like, Dave, we're just the most topsy-turvy kind of just like back and forth sort of squad sometimes. We'll pull off sort of results that will just look like, way too easy. Brush away Crystal Palace, brush away Brentford, brush away teams like Brighton that, you feel like, wow, maybe we can kind of just flat track bully teams like this. And then you have a result like this against Southampton and you just feel like the team is just so, I don't know, Dave, it's just a different flavor of the week every time with Spurs. It's just sometimes we'll just get a horrible result. The next time we'll get, a result where we're just starting to think maybe top four is just imminent. The next time it just seems like we'll get a result where it seems like top four is ridiculous. It's hard to even get a grasp of Spurs, but certainly we didn't deserve it. What I'm a bit most disappointed about, Dave, is probably the fact that we did end up being 2-1 up at one stage, regardless of how bad we were playing. And when you do find that moment, when you're 2-1 up, you've been the worst team by far. Maybe you can find like just within yourselves that last kind of 20, 30-ish minutes to maybe, just pull out a result and just kind of grind out a 2-1 and get that nice snatch and grab that we all know we do like sometimes. And if we had pulled that off, then I would have said, that's a top four team. That's what a top four team does. But we just didn't do it. And I think that just shows maybe a lot of our limitations to a degree, Dave.
Yeah, no, that's a fair analysis. And just maybe a quick follow-up question, Jack. Was it Southampton were really, really good, or were we just really, really bad?
I think we were really, really bad, but I also do feel like Southampton, we've been speaking about this in the back end, Dave. Southampton have pulled off fantastic results against bigger teams this season. They seem to almost kind of come out and play maybe some of their best sort of brand of football of some sort against bigger clubs than they do maybe smaller clubs. And I don't know why that is. I don't know what's up regarding that, but it does seem like they just practically dominated us in our own half. They dominated us when it came to creating chances. I just feel like Southampton, they played a very good brand of football that sometimes I don't really always see them play consistently. They played it against us. I do feel like, though, Dave, at the same time, when it comes to certain players and to certain sectors of the pitch that we did have, there were some atrocious performances that you could not get out of the way. So I do see where you're coming from, where Spurs also did play pretty terribly at the same time.
Yeah, that's fair. And Dermot, what did you make of yesterday's game? What's your thoughts on it, man?
Yeah, it was pretty deflating. I just think it is one of those games. It's one of them games where we just wasn't going to be our day. But a 2-1 up, again, we don't have the players to lock games out. We've still got Sanchez, we've still got a Davis, we've still got a Royale who's making too many mistakes. and we just got Winks in midfield. And Holberg didn't have a great game either. We just didn't have the players. We need players to lock these games out, and we're not doing so. It's always going to be topsy-turvy. It was disappointing. I was more disappointed in the performance than the result. I think the performance. I think that was the Sanchez and Davis and Royale for me were awful. Winks again was awful. Holberg was bad, and it was just a general bad, deflating performance. But it could be a one-off, and we just have to dust ourselves down and go again on Sunday. That's all you can do.
Yeah, and no, actually, I'll get onto that in a minute. Coover, what's your thoughts on yesterday's game, my man?
Oh, it's fantastic. Really enjoyed it.
Some people did.
No. It was just it was something that was been in the pipeline for a while. I think we have, if we're honest, we've rode our luck a few times under Conte so far. We've had some substandard performances, but dragged something out of it. Southampton were better all over the pitch to a man. No getting away from it. They were excellent. We were poor. But we did have a few standout players, despite the overall performance. I thought Romero did pretty well. In the back three, he was the only one that looked like a defender.
Yeah.
And when he stepped into the midfield, he became our best midfielder in that first half as well. Kane, I thought, actually played quite well. All our attacks were either coming through him or Reguilon, and Reguilon also played okay. Other than that, Sonny did his best, got a goal. You can't really ask for too much more from a striker. Consistently getting goals when you're struggling. So he did it okay. Lucas pretty much anonymous. And that's one of the highlight players, really. Winks anonymous. Winks and Ivy took completely overrun. Perhaps we're doing the individual players in a minute, are we, David? I'll talk about them.
We'll get onto them in the player ratings. We'll get onto the individual player ratings.
But overall, very flat. Like you said, though, first 18 minutes, we were looking pretty good. I think that's the bit to take from the game is if you look at that beginning to the game, you can see where the way forward is for the club. You can see it's some sort of direction. We were looking pretty tidy there. It was everything you'd expect from Conte's sort of side. We're defending it well. We're counter-attacking swiftly with purpose. It was there. The chances were created. We were looking good. And then it was like a switch, just suddenly off. Southampton just upped their game. But their pressing went from average to intensive, and we just couldn't cope with that. Yeah.
And what about our press, Coover? You know, after the first 18 minutes, it kind of became non-existent. What do you think went wrong there?
You tell me. But is it a fitness issue? I mean, Southampton were just first to everything. Well, no, we just weren't pressing at all, were we?
No.
Some of those defensive phases. I mean, we were looking at it on both Mari's show last night and on Will Stewart's. And when you pause some of those frames, you could put a 5-yard circle around Southampton attacking players. And it's almost all of them have got loads of time and space. And we've got loads of players marking nobody. Just can't get around. I think one of Højbjerg's biggest weaknesses is his pace, lack of pace. Sometimes he just can't keep up with what's going on. When Southampton are moving the ball very quickly, he's chasing shadows. I think we saw that mostly. Perhaps that's the explanation of some of his passing as well. Perhaps he's frustrated. I can understand that. It's a human reaction. But nobody is really doing well. Southampton were just too much.
Yeah. Do you know what? And for me, I think the first 18 minutes is a positive. You know, we think about we could have been 2-3-0 up inside the first 18 minutes, and we could be sitting here talking about a different game today. Look, one of the goals was offside. One of them, Reguilon, he didn't take it. He probably should have been a bit more clever, went for the little chipper over the keeper rather than smashing it straight at him with the keeper rushing out. But look, at the end of the day, he's a left wing back. He's not a striker, but still, you should be taking them chances. But after that, I just felt like we kind of just lost control of the game, lost complete grip of it. We couldn't get a handle of it in midfield. And then looking back on the game today, because I watched it back earlier on, and it just kind of felt like we were playing Chelsea because they were abusing us out wide, and then if they couldn't get the cross in, then they were just coming back across the middle and popping shots off at every opportunity, and camping players in the middle. And what they did do very well is they created a hell of a lot of overloads. Breaking forward, players breaking into the box, sitting in around the edge of the box, waiting for breaking balls. And one thing I will say is, Hasenhüttl has definitely done his homework on us. Definitely done his homework on us. They pressed us high. We couldn't cope with it. But, of course we're not going to cope with it. When you don't have Bentancur from the start, you're not going to cope with it, because at one stage Sanchez gave the ball into Harry Winks. Yes, Harry Winks was marked, but he should be standing there demanding the ball. He didn't. He got bowled over, lost it in a stupid position, and they went on and had a counter-attack. And as soon as I seen that, I'm like, how are we supposed to play football here when that's the guy everyone's looking to be able to get on the ball and to be able to keep the ball, play us true midfield up to the forward line when he doesn't even want the ball. And you could see the difference when Bentancur came in, demanding the ball, taking it in tight positions and stuff like that. And that's the big difference. And as well, then off the ball, I just at least Højbjerg was chasing shadows. Winks wasn't. Winks was standing there taking in fresh air, looking around at the crowd, taking in the atmosphere. He was dropping off completely. Midfield partnership, it's called a partnership for a reason, because if one does something, you have to go and match it. Harry Winks didn't, and it's very easy for them to keep playing around there. But again, it's a common team. Every time that guy plays in the middle, he gets absolutely overrun. We always do. In the midfield, when he plays, we get overrun every single time. Go back and look at a lot of the games this guy plays. Through the middle, every time. But look, Emerson, honestly, I felt like the guy had never played in the rain before. Sanchez all over the place. But I think the biggest downfall was our defence. I mean, they were all over the place. They looked nervous. And to be honest with you, I actually pinpointed where I thought the game changed. We went 1-0 up. Straight away after we went 1-0 up, Sanchez gave away that ball on the edge of our box where the guy who scored eventually, your man Armando Broja.
Armando Broja.
He went in. Then he bet Emerson on the byline and got a shot off. But straight after that, Sanchez followed that up with another mistake when we were bursting forward. He had a pass into Kane and Son and put it to neither of them, put it behind them into the Southampton players. And then after that, mistakes just kept on creeping in. And eventually what we were doing is we were just dropping deeper and deeper and deeper onto our own box to the point where we just could not get out in the first half after that. Second half, look, I think it was clear to see that Conte maybe did give them a bollocking, because we got a reaction for the first 15 minutes. And if my mind serves me correctly, I think Reguilon probably put 3 chances on the plate inside the first 10-15 minutes in that second half. And then once we went 2-1 up, we just completely lost control of the game again. And I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised, to be honest with you. When you can't get a grip of the game in the middle, you can't turn any ball over. Of course the other team's going to have the way with you. Of course they're going to be passing it left, right, pulling you all over the place. But one of the biggest things I'll take from yesterday is positionally. We were all over the shop. You go back and look at that, I think it was the third goal, or the second goal. Kulusevski failed to mark his man. Or Kulusevski failed to track the runner. He let the runner go. You look at Romero and Sanchez, they're both marking the same player. Emerson and Sanchez are deeper than what Romero and Davies are. The line at the back is all over the shop. No one kept the line. And it's just an absolute disaster. But because I think there were so many players that had it off there, I do put it down to, like I keep saying, more just a bad day at the office than thinking that this season is over for sure. I will just take this super chat from Moondog, and then I have a couple more questions for you guys before we get into player ratings. But Moondog says, I won sod all, but my boy bet on Southampton and he's a Spurs fan. He said he always bets against Spurs in England. He has won lots.
Sensible lad.
To be honest with you, Moondog, I don't know whether you should keep encouraging him or put him up for adoption. I'm not sure.
Well, keep betting against England anyway. That's what I would say.
He's got half of it right. Maybe he's got half of it right there.
I always like to do that thing of betting against us, because if we win the game, I'm happy, and if we get beaten, at least I'll get some money.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. But still, yeah. No, but Moondog, I'll be honest with you, I'd probably put him up for adoption. I can't have him not betting against or betting against Spurs. I can't do that, Moondog. But big yourself up, my man. Really appreciate it. And when he does win, hopefully he does respect you enough, the Outlaw, to be able to go and get you something out of it, give you a nice little something out of the winnings, my man. But Look, we'll start with you. We'll go to you. We'll stick with you, Kuva, and then we'll work our way back around this time. A lot would say Spurs lost the battle all over the pitch last night. But where was the real problem area? Was it up front, defence, or midfield? And where do you think it went wrong?
We are not strong enough from the back and in midfield to support a front three against a team like Southampton. So we put ourselves under huge pressure trying to do that. If we'd switched to if we played a 3-5-2, which we couldn't due to lack of personnel at the moment, it could have worked out a lot better for us. Would have had a bit more protection at the back, and you pick your chances a bit better. Trying to bring the wing backs into the game. We've only got one at the club at the moment. Since Sessegnon's injured, it's only Reguilon. So we've got no width on one side. We've got very weak midfielders. One can't keep up with the play. The other one can't do anything, even if he can. And defenders that are calamitous. They're basic errors. Some of the stuff Emerson was doing is absolutely diabolical. I mean, Sanchez was mistakes, but you could see he was at least trying to do the right thing at times. Just doing it badly. Emerson just doesn't have a clue. He's marking a player who's behind him. He can't even see him. Was he psychic or something? Is that his plan? I mean, everybody knows you just get yourself in a position so you can see the ball and you can see your man.
Yeah.
Then you can do something about it. He just failed to do it time and time again. It was absolutely ridiculous. Everybody ball watching, no sort of leadership at the back there. Romero tried to do his bit, but I mean, when he got Sanchez and Dyer having one of his poorer games as well, he was well below standard as well. He was getting run ragged a lot of the time. So Davis struggling, Sanchez shocking, Emerson absolutely diabolical. What's Romero going to do? He does what he can, but it brings his level down as well.
Yeah.
If it wasn't for Lloris, we could have.
Yeah.
I mean, if we'd lost that 8-4, you would have said, yeah, it's a true reflection.
Yeah.
That's saying something on a home game. But no, we're not good enough to support that system we're playing, but we've got no choice because we can't support the other system we want to play. We're lacking personnel. This, for me, highlights what a failure the transfer window was. Because we liked the fact we got rid of the Deadwood, but we simply did not get in. We did not dress those crucial areas we needed. We desperately needed a right wing back, and we desperately needed a central defender. We simply lack quality and numbers in those positions. Bentancur, that's Bentancur is one of the highlights. When he stepped into the pitch, we suddenly had a midfielder. We had somebody that could both. He could defend and he could attack, and some of those pings he did out. One to Lucas Moura was fantastic. But then, even then, what happens at the end of it? Lucas Moura did a nice little easy curled cross into the goalkeeper's arms. It's wasted that opportunity. He had time and space to pick out somebody. Just poor all over, really. Few highlights. I mean, Harry Kane. If it wasn't for him and Reguilon, we had no attack at all in the first half. And in the second half, Bentancur came on. At least he could find some of those long-range passes out, and he did that fantastically well. The crowd were straight away taken to him.
Yeah.
It gave everybody a lift. We started looking like we could play a bit of football then. But until then, it's just lost sheep.
Yeah. Yeah, and on the transfer window, Kuva, do you really think it was that bad, considering it's a January transfer window and that it's 1 month compared to 3 months over the summer, and it's very hard to get the right quality players in January because it's a knock-on effect. We can go in and line up a bid for another player and it could be accepted, but if they can't get the replacement and the club that they're buying a replacement from can't get one, it's hard to do business. But as well, buying quantity over quality is what got us into this position in the first place. And I don't want to be going back down that route. And I'm happy to wait until the summer if we couldn't address them areas in January. Do you think the January transfer window was really that bad?
Yeah, for bringing players in. I mean, Kulishevsky, we're praying that he's going to be a good player, but we don't know that yet. I mean, there's nothing there to say yeah, he's hit the ground running. He certainly hasn't. So we're praying he works out. But if it's literally Lee's Bentancur who looks a quality player. He really does. That's a good bit of business. But like I said, if we didn't address that right wing back slot, that's shocking. Who thought we didn't need a right wing back at this point? I think everybody agrees we needed one. Even if people rate Emerson, we need cover there. And surely nobody can still rate Doherty. I mean, he's about the only player at the club worse than Emerson.
But in order to get the right wing back that we need to be able to improve the situation, a world-class wing back to come ready and straight into the team, is that realistically available in the January transfer window, though? When teams are still in the Champions League pushing for titles and pushing for trophies, is that realistic?
I don't think we even need world class though. We just need somebody that's average. I actually think we have the worst right wing backs in the league. In the division, I really do.
We bought Emerson,
anybody else's right wing back.
But we bought Emerson, who was average. Look how that's working out.
Well, who says he was average? He was untested in this league.
No, but he was average when we bought him. Sure, whoever we're going to what other club is going to sell us a right back up to standard in this league?
Well, plenty we could have had a dabble at. I mean, we always talked about Max Aarons. I mean, okay, he's gone off the boil a bit, but he's got to be better than what we got at the moment. Well, I'm sure we could have prized him away from Norwich. How about playing some of our? Oh, we could even play some of our academy players. It's got to be better than this. At the moment, it's 10 men at the moment.
Put Piscotty in there.
Yeah. What's the other one? The one we nabbed off Chelsea as well. Forgotten the name.
Oh, Linear.
Yeah. Why not? Give him a chance.
Yeah.
Because
it does come down to what Stephen Cartwright is saying, as someone who can play football basically at right wing back will do. And
that will do it, yeah.
It does seem that way where with Emerson, it seems like he's just the only thing he's really good at these days is defensive. And after that, or defensive things. And after that defensive nightmare, it's hard to even know about that. And then Doherty, you just don't know what you're getting. You're either getting, somebody that's occasionally good going forward, or you're getting somebody that's just completely useless. So Stephen Cartwright is right. We just need someone who can actually play football at right wing back at the end of the day. But Ben Coffin,
I suppose with Doherty, you could say at least he can be a big lump and cause some sort of havoc in the opposition box. That's about it. We have got a goal. I remember Bergwijn got a goal out of him doing that.
Maybe.
Obviously, he couldn't control the ball, but it broke loose to somebody else, and maybe that's the only thing you do. Goal hanger. that kid that can't be bothered to run around when you're playing with your mates.
That's
pretty much him.
Yeah, for sure. Ben Kaufman says we were Donut FC again. Nothing in the middle. No, look, yesterday was poor. It was poor. It was clear to see. Couldn't get a handle of the game in the middle whatsoever. And they just had their way with us. 100% Donut FC. I like that one, though, man. Big yourself up, my man. Big yourself up.
What I said last night, or when I came in at halftime, I said, even though I feel like a lot of problems were down the wings for us, it did feel like the majority of our issues were just the midfield, just being, like you said, Ben Kaufman, just an absolute donut.
Yeah. It'll have to be a savoury donut as well, because there was nothing sugar-coated on that.
I love that. Leighton Evelyn says we never got a signing we wanted. We knew we needed a right back, a striker, attacking midfielder, same shit. So what do you expect? Reality check. No, but look, this is my point. Like you it's a January transfer window. You're not going to overhaul your whole squad in January transfer window. Look, we have to be honest with ourselves. It's all well and good saying we wanted this, we wanted that, but it was going to be a window where no matter what we did get in, if we got in a right back and a striker, people would have came out and said, "But we need a centre midfielder, we need a centre back." We're always going to be left with wanting more out of this window. We have to be honest with ourselves. The size of the rebuild that Steve Hitchen left us with was about 10, 11, 12 players needed in this team to be able to make a full team. That is not realistically going to happen over 2 windows. It's not going to, even if what we've done in the summer, you're never ever going to complete it in January. And even this summer, you won't complete it, but you'll put yourself on the right path where you probably maybe just need 1 or 2 in little areas. But with the size of the rebuild, we were never, ever going to get everything done, ever. We have to understand the mess that Steve Hitchen left us in. And what in my opinion, what we didn't do this January, which is what we've done in other windows, we didn't panic and go for quality or go for quantity over quality. Quantity is what got us in this situation in the first place, where we had so much deadwood players that we just cannot offload, and some of them still form the nucleus of this squad. We cannot go down that route. This was always going to be a painful rebuild, but what Steve Hitchen done from the Pochettino era is just add years onto it with the crap he brought in. And for me, I just think I would much rather get in the quality over the quantity, and if the right player isn't available in the January transfer window, hold out to the summer, because if we did buy a right back in the January transfer window and it came in and it didn't work, just like we did with Emerson and Doherty, fans would have went mad again in summer, saying, well, we just filled it for the sake of filling it. At some stage, we have to sit back, realize the magnitude of this rebuild at Tottenham Hotspur, and somewhere find a bit of patience, find a bit of realism, and just understand that not everything, it's not possible to be able to fill 11, 12 positions in the space of 2 windows. It's just not going to happen.
It's true, but you do also have to look at what's your priorities.
Well, central midfield was a clear priority, though.
I'd say right wing back.
Ali Ndombele Celso offered nothing but poor attitudes, and that was leaving us with Højbjerg, Skip, and Winks. Centre midfield was an emergency position. We've been screaming for it. I've been saying it all the way on the build up to the window. We need someone like a deep line playmaker, like a Bentancur is coming in and proving. He can transfer he can do what Winks is supposed to do, transfer attack or defense into attack. That's what Bentancur can do.
Sure. I mean, I wanted Brozovic as well, didn't I? We were talking about this for a long time.
Did we need Kulusevski? Look, again, there's your backup striker. He can play up front. There's that backup striker. So what are we talking about then? We're talking about an attacking midfielder that Conte doesn't use. Conte does not use attacking midfielders. He uses box-to-box midfielders. He turned Eriksen from an attacking midfielder into more of a box-to-box midfielder. In a midfield tree, he doesn't use centre attacking midfielders. So I don't know why people keep saying this. He does not use them in his tactics. He doesn't use them in a 3-5-2, and he doesn't use them in a 3-4-3. And when it comes to the right wing back, I get it, but we have Doherty and Emerson there as well. I get it, they're poor, but if that right wing back isn't there for us to go and get, rather than panic on that position again, because since Kyle Walker's left, we've gone through Trippier, Aurier, Doherty, and Emerson. Rather than do another knee-jerk reaction to transfer window, I would rather us wait and go and get that quality that's available. And that's just my opinion. I don't know whether the panel agrees. What's your thoughts?
We have gone through an absolute cycle of horrible right wing backs or not right wing backs, but just right backs in general. We have gone through a really bad cycle of them and had a bad history. It is a bad graveyard when you are looking at it after Kyle Walker. So I do agree with you, Dave. If there was nothing available in January, which could be very likely, maybe we did try to maybe poke, certain nests and just maybe make some certain, inquiries, but we probably just were kind of shot down. They are kind of a rare breed at this moment in time. At least when it came to the January window, they're a bit of a rare breed. Probably in the summer, there's plenty out there. Of course, I think everybody wants that guy Mazraoui from Ajax. He's available on a free. I know there's some other players that we could go after, I think, in the Bundesliga when it comes to right wing backs as well as Italy. But I agree with you, Dave. I would rather get it right this time than get it wrong, especially if we want to back Conte. We needed to find the right wing back that actually fit his sort of system and his sort of picture of what they're actually supposed to be doing in his sort of his system.
Darren, what's your thoughts on it, my man?
We had a good right wing back in Walker Peters, and we let him go to Southampton.
When we saw him go, Dermot, he was atrocious.
Well, he's playing well for Southampton now.
Yeah, now 3-4 years later, to be fair. But when we saw him, he was atrocious.
The problem is it's been Hitchen. This has been the Hitchen problem all the way along. When it comes to every transfer window, we've never attacked where we needed the players properly. Do you know where was priority? As you said, Dave, it was just get plays in for the sake of it, instead of sitting back, looking at it like a long project. Right, we need a right wing back. We need a centre back. We need a centre midfielder. Do it properly. And now we have to sit through another rebuild for another few seasons because of Hitchin's bad job of being a director of football. And this is all his works have now come home to truth, and this is what we're left with. So I agree with you. We're going to have to be patient. Though I know some fans won't be patient, but we're going to have to be. This is going to be summer, January, and next summer before this squad gets right. Now, if Conte will be here for that long, that remains to be seen.
Yeah, that's a different question altogether.
But this is what Steve Hitchen has done since he come to the club. Everything's come home to truth now. This is how badly run our scouting network, our transfer network, and him as a director of football has been. And it's been a shambles, and now we're getting the proof of why, and it's very frustrating. It's very, very annoying, but I think we're going to have to be patient. But being Spurs fans, we're not patient. We want to, we're dying for success. We're dying to win cups, and we're gonna have to take the pain before we get the game, and I think this is us taking the pain, but. If Conte, hopefully Conte will stay to the end of this rebuild, because if he does, we will win something again.
Yeah, I hope he does. I really hope he does. Look, this summer's going to be a dicey one. It's definitely going to be touch and go, to be honest with you. But Kuba, what's your thoughts on everything we've been talking about?
Well, this is the major thing for me. Is the reason we had to spend now and get these players in is we're not going to be making top four if we didn't. We're up against it now, and if we don't get top four, what's that summer rebuild going to be like? It's going to be peanuts again. That means we won't be getting in the quality players we want. We won't have Champions League football to offer, and then we're going to end up with this ongoing loop that we're always in with Daniel Levy, who doesn't get business done early if he gets it done at all. It still seems to be the same thing. We're saying about it, we're hoping Paratici are driving things now, but for me, it still doesn't look like it. I mean, he might have done a great job getting players out. Perhaps that is entirely down to him. Hopefully, that's the great sign. But the very fact he's not able to get the players in that we definitely do need right now, and it's critical we have them right now. This has been a poor window from that point of view. We're going to miss out on top four. How much are we going to have available to spend then, and who's going to want to come? It's I think we've missed out big time here.
I have to say, Cooper, I mean, I agree, because I don't think we're a top four club. I think we're a top 5 or top 6 club at the moment in this present time, because of the bad transfer window and because we didn't get what we needed in, and Levy not doing what Levy's supposed to do, invest in the team. And this is where it all boils down to.
Yeah,
we could end up qualifying for the Champions Conference League again.
We literally have to pray that our first 11 stay fit.
Yeah.
Because it's over then. Anything happens to Harry, anything happens to Hugo Lloris, anything happens to Romero again.
I mean, that is true with. I think that is more true with us. Kuva, I agree that is more true with us, but I think that's also true with a lot of other teams as well. You would say the same thing with Liverpool. You would say the same thing with even Chelsea to a degree. You would say the same thing. And even Chelsea have incredible backups, but let's say all of a sudden, I don't know, let's say all of a sudden Jorginho is missing. I think they would, then be complaining, Jorginho, there's no Jorginho replacement. But I agree with you, Coop, but at the same time, I think any team that's battling for top 4 right now, if they've missed their best player, they are definitely missing a big hole. Same with Arsenal right now. Same with West Ham. Same with, if they miss Declan Rice, they're probably not getting top 4. If Arsenal all of a sudden lose Martinelli, they're not getting top 4. I agree with you, but it's the case with a lot of teams.
It's squeaky bum time anyway.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. And just quickly, do you know what, Kuva? I do disagree with you on Paratici, and just hear me out on this one, right?
Well, he had to do the cleaning before the cooking at the same time.
Steve Hitchen was failing to get a lot of these players out. He just could not clear them out, and of course, no wonder, because he was friends with half of these players. But Paratici has come in from the summer and the January transfer window, and I think he's cleared 13, 14 players already out of this squad, and we still have more to go. He was doing what Steve Hitchen failed to do. He didn't panic this window, in my opinion, by bringing in quantity rather than than the quality. He focused on the quality rather than the quantity. He done what Conte wanted him to do in terms of focusing on the quality over the quantity. And as well, if you look at the budgets, right? How many big deals did Steve Hitchen fail to get over the line? Loads. But yet we got Romero over the line when most fans said, no, not going to happen, typical Spurs. We got Bentancur and Kulusevski over the line when most people said, no, it's smoke and mirrors. You know, we got them over the line and we got them into the club. But as well, you look at the budgets he's had to work with. Steve Hitchen made his stretch over 7 players and paid cash for nearly every single one of them, and then got in a ridiculous loan for Jetson, Fernandes and Vinicius at some point as well to kind of cover his tracks and try and fill as many positions as possible. But if you look at Paratici, he's been given a budget to work in. He's worked within that budget. Now, look, the size of the budget is a different thing altogether. Like, obviously, us Spurs fans want more, and I would like more. But what Paratici has done, he's manipulated that budget. That budget in the summer where maybe we would have got 2 players in Emerson and Gill, he ended up stretching it, organising a deal for Romero that doesn't have to be paid to this summer, a deal for Galini that doesn't have to be paid for this summer. This winter, we don't know what the budget was like, but he structured 2 deals that, again, don't have to be paid for another while. So in terms of working within a budget, this guy for me is on a complete different level compared to Steve Hitchen. This guy can get in the quality and structure a deal that doesn't have to be paid to next season and get him in now. Whereas before, Steve Hitchen would have gone for a player. No, it's not happening. Okay, I'll go for second, third, fourth best. Whereas for me, Paratici doesn't do that. He works within the budget and he usually gets his target one way or another.
Yeah, I'm not disagreeing you about Paratici being better than Steve Hitchen. I mean, Hitchen is the director of football sort of skills, while Kurt Zuma is the pet cat. But you know, it's not that the real problems is what Levy is going to allow him to do.
Yeah.
If he's going to work with peanuts, we're going to get, we might get nice peanuts, but they will be peanuts.
Yeah.
So that's the problem. The issue is always Levy. It always comes back to him. He doesn't seem to want to take any sort of risk whatsoever. It's all safely, cheap option, and we can't be doing that. We had to invest better this window. We pissed
this summer. I think. Do you reckon this summer Kuva would tell us whether Daniel Levy has realised his mistakes or not in terms of what business we do this summer? Do you think that'll be the?
I'm extremely worried we're going to see Conte walking.
We almost said that about this January, probably a few months back.
No, he's got a habit of going in the summer, though, hasn't he, Conte, when he's fed up with things. If he's true to form, he'll see that nothing happens in the first few weeks when he's demanding players. And it's going to be the same drag in the heels that we always do. And then he'll just go, bollocks to it, I'm out of here.
I
see that happening.
I think Levy has an awful lot of making up to do. But again, he hasn't learned from his mistakes. This transfer window, you can see he hasn't.
Yeah. And,
I can't see the summer being any different. So, pigs may fly and we may land a man on the moon again. But who knows? Miracles may happen.
Yeah, miracles may happen. PSS 19 or 19870. Big up PSS saying we need to use a 3-5-2. Kulu needs to play in front of the middle because he's too slow to play winger. Love you, Irish Hotspur. He loves the Irish Hotspur and PSS. He wants to go with the 3-5-2 from now on, Dave.
Yeah, look, I have my thoughts on this. Look, if we go a 3-5-2, he's not going to play someone as a cam. He's going to play someone as a holding midfielder and then 2 that join the forwards. And the reason why he's going to do that is because he's Italian. Italians are taught defense first and then everything else going. You always think defensively first and then after that worry about going forward. He's never going to set up with a player like Kulu or anybody sitting in that hole between 2 strikers. I just do not see him doing it, to be honest with you. Look, it's a good idea, and I get what you're saying. Squeeze Kulu in there. Maybe he looks a bit too slow to play out wide. I can get what you're saying there, but I'll be honest with you. I think the 3-4-3 is fine. You just put Bentancur instead of Winks. I think you see a massive improvement. I really do. I think Bentancur can take the ball off the defenders. They'll be able to trust him with it. And I do genuinely think you see a massive improvement. Look, the last 15 minutes when he came on beside Højbjerg stuck to his side of the midfield. Bentancur stuck to his. And we stopped the flow of Basuma, in my opinion. And for me, I would like to see them two in midfield because I keep saying this about Harry Winks. Look, I'm fed up with Brayton on the poor guy. I really am. But every time he plays, we get absolutely walloped straight through the middle. Can never, ever get a hang of the midfield every time he's in there. And for me, these problems were here before Højbjerg got here. They were here before Conte got here. And for me, I think he's the problem in that midfield, in a 3-4-3. And we should not be putting ourselves back in the same position like we were doing with Ndombele, Ali, and Lo Celso, where you're having to change the formation to adjust for what these guys can't do, because that just shows they have a pure lack of quality. We don't have the midfielders to be able to drop into a 3-5-2 to accommodate Harry Winks either, and we shouldn't have to do it. It's not fair on Kane, it's not fair on Son, and it's not fair on other players who can work in that formation. Why should we change it just for that one player? Yeah. It should not happen. He's just not good enough. But big up PSS, and my man, I really do appreciate the support. Leighton Evans says, not in top 4. Who the hell will sign with us? Look, I get that, but we signed Romero when we were in the Europa Conference League, the Italian's best defender of the year when all the biggest teams around Europe were looking at him. And we also got Bentancur and Kulusevski in from Juve. We're not in Champions League now, are we?
Just need Paratici to use his friends, everybody. Just hopefully he makes a lot of friends at a lot of, wine parties in Italy. And, that means, we can get a lot of good players through the door this summer if we don't get top 4. But Leighton Evelyn, pick yourself up, my man. Do appreciate it. Faz Radfar saying we get overexcited with a win and panic with a loss. It is a roller coaster when it comes to supporting Spurs, I'll be honest. But it is also that way sometimes, maybe with the way we do also react to performances. But I will be honest, it doesn't feel like Spurs are capable of really going on a true run. It feels like at times. There's never any
we don't have the quality.
We don't have the quality to go on a true run. But it does also seem like we just are so topsy-turvy, we're so roller coaster that we maybe just have to come to terms with that.
Yeah.
Pick up fast.
Look, Faz Radfar, football's reactionary. It's always going to happen. People are going to go, crazy when we win. I'm the most guilty of it, believe me. Honestly, I'd sometimes be skipping up and down the high street naked when we win. I can't help it. But when we lose, obviously people are going to get very, very angry. But do you know what? Not that I've given up getting very, very angry when we lose, but it's just kind of like I've grasped the reality of the situation, how big it is, where we are at realistically. It just makes it that bit easier to cope with, in my opinion, for me. Anyway, personally, but look, football's always going to be reactionary. But what I will say is, no, I'm not going to say it. No, we'll move on.
No, come on.
What are you going to say, Dave? Come on.
No. But
you
look,
can't leave us hanging like this. That's not fair.
No, I say it after. But
all right, like that is it.
Spurs fans were outraged last night, and rightly so. But with many saying the season is over, and are we being too reactionary? Is it just a bad day at the office, and we still have everything to play for, or is the season over just after one loss? And start with Jack. Let's start with Jack.
I think I mean, just points wise, tables wise, fixtures that we still have left to play. I think it's just a bad day at the office at the end of the day. I know that Antonio Conte can rally the troops and try to get them to play better. He even said something about their mentality, where he even pointed out to them that they have a mental instability with their lack of consistency, their lack of ability to really contain form, to really maintain their sort of consistent run of form. Like I said before, they just don't seem to be able. They don't seem to be capable of going on a run of form. I know it has to do with quality, but I think a lot of it has to do with mentality as well, Dave. So I don't know. I think it's just a really, really poor day at the office. But you kind of have to look at it. You're like Brighton, very similar team to Southampton in the way they try to play. Very similar team in that they do pick up points against bigger teams. Very similar team with how they do try to play a bit more progressive, despite maybe lacking that bit of quality. And they just seem to put up better performances than maybe Brighton did. And also we just seem to not be able to handle Southampton. So I feel like it's just a bad day at the office. It seems like just really two similar sort of case studies between Brighton and Southampton. Two really similar games, similar opponents, and two wildly different results and different performances. I really do feel like we have to wait for Wolves to really find out what we're really truly made of.
Yeah, yeah, and you're correct there, Jack. Because I mean, we were going to talk about tactics and stuff like that, but it's kind of like with the two different performances being so different with the same formation on, I think we kind of really do need to sit back and wait for the Wolves game just to kind of see what way that pans out. Does it sit on the Brighton side? Does it sit on the Southampton side? If it sits on the Southampton side, then maybe we should be looking at it. But Dermot, yourself, my man, I mean, where do you stand after last night's loss? Season over, or do we still have it all to play for?
We still have it all to play for, everyone. We're still in the FA Cup. We're still in the race for Europe, even if that's a top 5 or top 4, top 5, or even top 6. We're still in the race for that. I think it was just a bad day at the office. I think it was just one of them games that if everything could go wrong, it did go wrong. It just highlights what bad players we've got in the team. Southampton seemed to want it more last night. I don't know if we were jaded from the Brighton game or whatever the reason. But no, the season's not over. We've still got plenty to play for. And, we could end up the season winning the FA Cup and even top 5 or top 4. So, we could end up in May celebrating what a great season it was. So let's not give up hope yet.
Yeah, 100%, lad, 100%. And I love how optimistic Dermot always is. As much as he gives out, you ask him, are we going to do something? Yeah, we are. I absolutely love that. I love that, Dermot. But Kuv, my man, where do you stand on it? Pessimist, half glass full or half glass empty? But I'll ask you that way.
After last night, glass is completely empty, smashed and lying on the floor. With relegation fodder, worst team ever, and nothing can possibly pull us out of it. You ask me that again Sunday lunchtime, we're going to win 5-0 against Wolves. The double's back on because this is what it is playing Spurs when you support Spurs. I don't believe this keeping level-headed. No, every meal is a banquet. Every time you don't have a meal, it's a famine. You ride the highs and you put up with the lows. You keep bouncing back, come back for more. And we're always, when it comes back to match day, it's come on, you Spurs. Because we're back on the horse then. And we'll fall off it again. We'll fall off it a few more times, but keep getting back on. That's what you do. Why bother following the club if it's all level-headed? Let's have craziness, wild optimism and absolute pessimism. And the two go together, ups and downs. That's what it's all about.
I love that. I absolutely love it. Kuva again, he's another one. That's why they're both together on Tottenham Touch and Goal, because they give out about everything, and rightly so. But when it comes to after everything you've said today, we're still going to win at the weekend. Yeah, we are. I love it. Absolutely love it. It's a page out of my book for sure. I love that.
If not, you don't win Sunday, I will personally run on the pitch and chase everyone, and then players off the pitch myself.
Yeah. No, I love it.
I'm tempted to hope for the lose now. I'd like to see that.
Stop. You're going to put ideas into his head. I won't be able to control him. Ken, the long shot says, we can make top 4, and if we do, it has more to do with the others around us being terrible. It's a race to top 4, but it's on ice covered in banana peels. I absolutely love that, Ken, the long shot. No, look, it's
true.
I agree with you. Look, the only reason why we're in this race is purely because no one wants top 4 right now. No one wants that 4th position. Yeah. Everyone is as bad as each other that's going for it, but yet find themselves the best of the rest somehow. And it's just kind of... It's more an indictment on the Premier League than how good Tottenham has been if we do make it. That's what I would say. Jack?
I agree with Kane the long shot here. I feel like the only reason we're even considering top 4 has actually nothing to do with Spurs actually being a top 4 quality team. I agree with what Kuva and Dermot have said. We are actually a Europa League quality team, which is why I would say an FA Cup sort of win would not be a bad idea, simply because that gets us into a tournament, which would actually practically be our level. But with top 4, Dave, it really does have to do with Man United, Arsenal, West Ham, all these teams all seem to be just doing the same thing that we're doing, where 1 week they're riding a high, the next week they're down at a low, again, after, suffering a point, or losing some sort of points against a team that they probably shouldn't have. And I feel like that's the only reason we're considering top four, is just a bunch of teams that probably should be there, that normally would be, that do contend for that, are just as topsy-turvy and roller coaster as kind of we are. And so I think that's the only reason. But big up, Kane Longshot. Good to see you in here, my man.
Yeah, big up, my man. I really do appreciate the support. And Dermot Cove, anything to say to Kane Longshot, maybe?
Yeah, I do agree with them. It's like we're all passing around a hand grenade or pass the parcel. Nobody wants to take it and grab and run with it.
Yeah.
And that seems to be, but I do agree with them, it is full of bananas peels because every team's just slipping. But I think we'll be lucky. I think we'll be like an NFL player, quarterback, like Brady. We'll get the right passing, and he'll throw it right, and then there's Kane, and he'll take us to top four. So,
even Arsenal getting this, who knows if they get this result? But even Arsenal getting this result right now, let's remind ourselves they drew 1-1 with Burnley at home, like the week before. So it is just every team. I think it's just simply, it's like who can. It really is. It seems like this moment. Who can play the least terribly, or who can play the least terrible? Who can play?
If we can beat the teams around us, Jack.
Who can be the most? I think it's who can be the most consistent, and even perhaps when you come up against these fellow top four teams, who gets the points is, I think, also what it comes down to as well. If we get points against the scum, if we get points against West Ham, we perhaps get something out of Man United. If we just get points out of West Ham, the scum, as well, I just feel like that guarantees us, some sort of, chance, because that's really, I think, what it comes down to. Every team seems so roller coaster.
I think we're having our bit of hard luck now, and I think the rest of them will have theirs before the end of the season. I just think that we're just having ours now, and I think we're due some good luck now between now and May, and I think we may get it. I think we'll get a point at Man City as well. I think we'll get something out of that. Liverpool, I'm not too sure of, but I think the rest of that, I think we can guarantee a point at least. If we could just be that bit consistent and beat the teams around us, I think we'll be all right.
Yeah.
I think then it's ours to lose.
Yeah.
Beat the scum on the last day for it and knock them out of the Champions League, and that go into the summer very happy.
I love that. Cove, anything to add?
No, Kane the long shot. He's always got a pretty good, steady view on things. That sums it up. It's squeaky bum time. There's going to be accidents all over the place. It's kind of like Keystone Cops football for that Jason Ford spot. It's going to be interesting, that's for sure. Not for the faint-hearted, but we're in with a shout. But I think the thinness of our squad is going to count against us.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, like Jack said, pointing out tonight, Arsenal are winning at Wolves, but that's the kind of result that changes things a bit, because that would be a very good win for them. That puts pressure on us to replicate it again. Can we keep it up? Maybe. I think it's going to be very difficult. If Conte manages to get...
What I'm trying to say, though, is that when Burnley comes to Spurs at home, I guess that puts pressure on us to win that match. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So,
Burnley
I see what you're saying,
lives,
but it goes both ways, where it's they came off an atrocious sort of result that's hard to repair.
Well, at the moment, you wouldn't want to play Norwich either, would you?
Yeah.
They really picked up with a new manager.
I just kind of feel like even if they do get 3 points out of this, I don't think that even says very much, especially if it ended up being 1-0. It's that doesn't say very much for me.
Yeah, spot on. And this comment from John Stokes before we move into player ratings is also spot on. Spurs fans writing off Kulusevski after less than 40 minutes in a Spurs shirt, but are still happy to give Davies and Winks more time. Spot on, John. Absolutely love that comment. You're seeing, honestly, it's like you brought it's like you robbed my biography or something, John. Absolutely love that. Big yourself up, my man. But look, Jack, let's crack into it. And everybody, make sure you help us give these player ratings. Put them in the chat. Let us know whether you agree or disagree. Mine and Jack's ones are up here, and then we'll get over to Kuva and Dermot, see whether they agree or disagree and what their thoughts are. And then at the end, we will be talking about the mentality that Conte has blamed yesterday's defeat on. But look, Jack, let's take it away, man.
6s from Dave and I for Hugo, everybody. My logic just simply being, I don't think Hugo really had much that he really perhaps did wrong. There were probably a few moments where maybe he could have commanded the box maybe a bit better. Maybe he could perhaps have caught, maybe a cross, or had caught, an attempt, near the goal. But I don't know. I thought Hugo couldn't have really done a lot about maybe what was given to him. There wasn't really a lot of opportunities for him to have good distribution. So I'm not sure about this one, guys. For us, with David and I don't really know if there's a lot to say. I think Hugo just gets 6s. I don't really feel like he did a whole lot wrong. Did he really do a whole lot right? I think he probably did, to be fair. I think he made some good saves at certain moments as well that we do depend on with Hugo. He did make some good saves. So I think if he were to get a 5, I think that'd be quite harsh, actually.
Yeah. Do you know what? For me, Jack, I don't think he put too much wrong.
I think you can't give him a 7 just because maybe at the end of the day, 3 goals did go in.
Yeah. No, I agree. Look, he conceded goals, but you can't really say any of them were at his fault. You can't really say he made any mistakes that kind of made the game a bit nervy or anything. Look, he pulled off a couple of very decent saves. There was one in the first half in particular. I think the ball went towards the back post, and he saved it from more or less 3-4 yards out. So for me, I think there's a few positives from Hugo Lloris's performance. And again, it's another steady Hugo performance. I don't put anything on what happened last night on him. Kuva, what's your thoughts, man?
I have him at least at a 7. He
Interesting.
kept us in the game. There's nothing he could do about the goals, and he made a lot of quality stops. You couldn't. Before, we've criticised him about not coming out for crosses a lot, but when you've got the likes of Ward Prowse with time and space on the ball, he's going to put in a cross that puts doubt in the keeper's mind. So he didn't come out for a lot of it. The balls in were just too good. So I think Hugo, he did really well for us. It was just showing why we need to keep him.
And then he makes a good point here as well. That save he made from Perot, is it? Perot, the French guy or whatever? The fullback that rattled the bar to save the fingertips he's got to it.
Yeah.
That's right. I didn't know if he actually made fingertip saves. Seems like we're being a bit harsh here. It seems like, 7s or 8s is probably what we go for. I guess just maybe thinking about it, I guess he made a lot of saves that, to be fair, actually just simply kept us in the game right away, or even just kept it realistic for us. So that's probably fair, actually, Dave. I guess just sometimes when you just see kind of 3 goals on the scoreline, you're just kind of like...
Shall I go all Alex Davis and say you're being schooled, lads?
Behave, Kuva, behave. That's what he would also say as well.
Nice.
But 6s, I guess. I think we should be a lot kinder here, Dave. I would go 7 at least. I think 7s. Bump it up to 7s.
Yeah, look, we'll get Dermot's thoughts before I consider giving my changing my rating. Dermot,
I'm actually going to go for 8.5. I actually thought he was the difference, as Kuva's already said, for us losing 3-2 to us losing 8-4. He was one of decent players in that team, one or two really players that could hold their head up high walking off that pitch. So yeah, I would actually go for 8.5 for Lloris.
Yeah. Well, there's no halves, Dermot. It's an 8 or a 9. Which one?
Oh God, I'll go for 8.
There it is.
Interesting. Do you know what? Maybe it was a bit harsh, but we lost. And that's why I'm sticking with my 6, because we lost. And that pisses me off. Like, when we lose, I struggle to give anyone over a 7 because we've lost the game. So, but look, maybe I should give you a Lloris.
Yeah, I was thinking about that too, Dave.
But we did lose. And when you lose a game, I don't really like to give anyone over a 7.
When I think about it, it's like if we had won that 2-1, if we had won 2-1, Dave, like, after it's snatch and grab from Sonny, and then Hugo had kept us in the game, I would have been like, Hugo gets a 10, Hugo gets a 9. But the fact that then we lost 3-2, I know Hugo has no fault and had a flawless performance, but maybe that's my rating system when it comes to keepers. If you do win, it's almost like they get a bump up of 3 points or something.
Let's spice it up a little bit for you then, lads. How would you rate Bale's performance in Milan when we lost 4-3?
That's different, though. He scored a hat-trick.
We lost.
I think it is a bit different. The keeper is a very different position. I would say.
Well, yeah, I'd hope so.
I think when it comes to even the rating system,
Jack.
I think the rating system in its own, it gets its own.
Successful dribbles for Hugo, not very high, I think.
Yeah, probably not. I think it gets its own rating system for me. It seems like.
Yeah, maybe we're a bit harsh, Jack, but look, we're going to stick with the 6s. Everyone else out there,
I'm moving to the 7, Dave. I am going to move to the 7.
I'm sticking with 6. I'm sticking with
there
6.
You are, everybody.
Everyone out there is 8 seems to be the common number, so I think 8 is what he gets for yesterday's game.
All right, everybody. There you are. Moving on to Christian Romero. I've given him a 5. I've been a bit harsh here. David is giving him a 6. He made a lot of defensive challenges. I think he was easily by far the most defensively solid by a country mile, the most defensively solid. There are a few moments though, I feel like in possession though, where he was kind of playing some passes into players that was kind of thought like, it seems like maybe unwarranted, maybe a bit scary, could lead to something, for Southampton if they were to take it. Maybe I was just being so traumatized by Winks and Højbjerg just constantly losing it in the midfield that some of the passes Romero was playing in there made me think that I didn't like those. But for me, Dave, I thought he didn't really make any errors per se defensively. Also, though, there were times when I didn't exactly remember any Brighton sort of, kind of moments where he really got stuck in as well. So for me, I'm giving him a 5. I think I'm probably again being a bit harsh, but I've given him a 5.
I think you are being harsh, Jack, to be honest with you. Look, for me, I think he's easily the best out of the 3 centre-backs. I can get what you're saying with some of the passes, but I don't mind that from my centre-back. I'd rather that than lumping the ball along like Sanchez and Dyer love to do. Look, there's maybe one moment where maybe I wasn't too impressed with was, what was it? Southampton's first goal, I believe it was. Where it was kind of passed across and you had Davies, Sanchez and Romero sitting on the 6-yard box with 3 Southampton players in front of them, not one of them picking up. But apart from that, I actually thought he had a good game yesterday in terms of how much we were having to defend. And I don't think he actually put too much of a foot wrong. So I'm going to stick with my 6 on this one. And nobody's going to change me. I'm sticking with my 6.
Not changing again. Dermot, what do you think?
Yeah.
6, higher than that? What where are you on the spectrum here?
I would actually agree with David 6. I would actually go for 6 again. He did some great stuff, but there was just 1 or 2 mistakes during the game. So I would actually go for 6. I agree with David. I can't give him any more than that.
Interesting. Yeah, I kind of agree. I am kind of leaning towards the 6. I feel like I just still had kind of woke up on the wrong side of the bed today, Dave, probably with, some of these ratings. Kuva?
Well, he was having to play the sort of central role, wasn't he? So it's a little bit out of what he'd ideally playing. He'd like to step out a lot more, be a lot more aggressive, but he was having to play within himself to be very disciplined there. I think that affected his game. So he was underwhelming, but he was also the only one that looked like a defender out of the back 3. The other 2 just don't even qualify as defenders. One of them doesn't even qualify as a footballer in that performance. But
he's lost.
Romero, I'd go with a 6. I'd happily go with a 6. I think if Dyer had been there and Romero was allowed to play on the right, we probably would have seen a 7 or 8 performance from him, just so he can do his natural game and really aggressively get forward.
Dave, a lot of people in the chat have gone for 7s and even 8s.
We lost. No, too much. We lost. Look, I suppose, we always give in to the chat anyway, Jack. The chat always decides the player ratings, so we will have to give him a 7. But I am not changing my rating because we lost.
All right. So it seems like, yet again, Hugo got a 7 from the chat, and it seems like the chat has also again overruled. They've overruled with a 7 here as well. But there you are. I kind of agree. Maybe I just really woke up on the wrong side of the bed this morning when it came to the ratings. But one that I certainly did not, and one that Dave certainly did not, was Davinson Sanchez here. I'm not really sure how to describe this. Kind of similar to what Kuva had to say. Maybe because I'm not sure if I'm really going to be describing anything football, actually action-wise when it came to Davinson Sanchez. It was just the clown show and probably just showed up with a big red nose and a big curly wig, kind of like Emerson did, it felt like, for this sort of game. It just, I don't know. It just felt like probably all 3 goals, Davinson Sanchez probably has some share of the portion of blame in it. The second goal, I think, has a huge portion of blame. Third goal, probably more Emerson when you do think about it. But I don't know. The guy was just a mess. There were times when he just really looks so shaky, always looks uncomfortable in possession. I thought he was actually generally the worst defender on the pitch. I know Emerson was atrocious. I actually thought he was still single-handedly worse. But for me, he's gotten a humble 2, and Dave's given him a humble 1 here. Dave, maybe why the 1?
Because when we went 1-0 up, he was the start of the nerviness and the decline, like I said, with that defensive mistake and then giving away that pass straight after that mistake. Basically, in football, if you make one mistake, you need to be no matter whether it's your pass, your header, your tackle, you need to be able to make that pass correctly or win that tackle, not back up a mistake with another mistake. But not only that, then you look at the first goal, the goal that we did concede. If you go back and look at it, right, Emerson's out at right wing back. Why is Sanchez up further than him on the right wing? Where is Sanchez? Absolutely shocking. It's absolutely shocking. The guy, positionally, he was all over the place yesterday. Again, there was a couple of times a couple of long balls came in and he's just standing there. He doesn't know where he is. You look at the goals we conceded. Yes, I mean, Emerson positioning was poor. But Sanchez, there's 3 centre-backs across there. He's the one on the right-hand side. Why is he not going and winning them? He's a fucking centre-back. You know, he just cannot deal with a ball in the air. He's absolutely shocking. He's clumsy. He can't control the ball. He can't pass a football. And he's just not a natural mover. You look at Romero on the ball. Cool, calm, and collective. Looks like a footballer. You look at Sanchez on the ball. It looks like he's going to trip over his 2 left feet. He's absolutely shocking.
He's also gotten bullied recently as well, like Sanchez. There have been moments like we saw against Lukaku where he just got bullied. So even some of his kind of more physical attributes that you do rely on, you know, I feel like we just haven't gotten from him. He is just, I don't know. He feels like a clown of a defender at times. And you're going to get one day you're going to get a Sanchez that gets stuck in all over the place. And the next day you're going to get a Sanchez where you're just really questioning how this guy is actually a professional footballer. It really
but not only that, though, Jack. Not only that, like the first goal, even though he did make the run back, credit to him. But what he did, with him being out of position, what ultimately happened is, if you go back and watch it, Romero had to come out the middle. He had to come across and engage where Sanchez should have been. So he slowed him down. Sanchez came back. He got his foot in. But I actually felt he could have used his body, protected the ball and took control of it. He didn't. Got his clumsy foot in, went back to Davies. Yes, Ben Davies ended up slipping, which he probably shouldn't have. But not only that, he had a second bite at the cherry to get rid of it. The ball came across. He didn't clear it properly with his header. He just headed it straight back to them. It's absolutely shocking defending all around. And that was after we went 1-0 up. Your centre-back cannot be going around being that erratic. And this is all before the second half as well. It's absolutely shocking. I haven't even got into the second half. And I don't want to because he's pissed me off that much.
We haven't even gotten into it. But let's get Kuba and Dermot in here. Dermot, Sanchez, can you make sense of it, or is there no making sense of it?
I just give him a -10. You know, it's simple as that. I mean, that man it gives you nightmares. You see him on the team sheet and you start panicking. It's like you have a panic attack. You know, that fella cannot defend, he cannot head, he cannot kick. Please tell me, what does he do? Because he can't do the simple things a footballer should do. I mean, I thought he was terrible last night. He was at 3 goals, and I mean, to be fair, I give him a minus whatever, but he gets a -10 from me. I mean, if he never plays for Tottenham again, I will be so happy. Stick him in the reserves and leave him there. Maybe he won't fall over his feet playing for them or the under-10s. But as for Premier League, please never pull on the Spurs shirt again.
Yeah,
because he sends me having a panic attack every time you see him on the team sheet because he's making me go funny now. You know, where's the whiskey? I'm talking. No, he drives you to drink, that man. Honestly, he does.
according to Blue Mountain as well, even Bambi doesn't rate, even Bambi's more sure on ice, than Sanchez is. Even
I'd
Bambi's
rather have the seven dwarfs as Snow White in place of Sanchez. I think they will play better.
Certainly be more bodies in the defense, I'll tell you that, than maybe.
Yeah.
But getting the long shot here, saying NFL legend John Madden said there are three types of players: those who make things happen, those who watch things happen, and those who don't know what even happened. Sanchez, Winks, Davies fall into the latter two. Maybe let's group them together then, Kuva. Sanchez, which one does he fall into? He can only fall into the latter two. So, the first answer is wrong.
He's the latter one for me. He just doesn't have a clue what happened. Davies, he's quite often the one that watches things happen because he can't keep up with the play.
Winks.
Winks, again, he'll watch things happen. He doesn't chase back enough. He doesn't get stuck in. He's not an all-round player that they're trying to make him into. So, yeah, it's a good quote though. I really do like that Madden one.
Yeah,
it's actually
in the long shot. We just grouped them and piled them all into the boxes that you needed to, according to John Madden. Maybe just for sakes, because Kane the long shot's being very, very generous here. The super chat, Dave. I mean, how do you group them? Sanchez doesn't know what happened, or maybe just watch things happen.
Yeah, so look, he just watches things happen. Look, this one.
Really, you don't think he's in the doesn't know what happened category?
Oh no, sorry, yeah, no, doesn't know what happens.
Okay,
sorry, my bad.
I thought you were losing your mind there, Dave.
No, look, I'm deluded, but I'm not that far deluded. I can still
up here.
Not yet. Anyway, I haven't gone with the fairies yet, but no, I love this quote because it kind of describes Romero. What we say about Romero being proactive rather than reactive. It's kind of along the same lines. Romero, he's the one that makes things happen. You look against Brighton, he gets out in front of the defender and gets the ball before it even hits their feet. You look at Sanchez, Davies, even when Dyer's back there, they let the striker get the ball into the feet and hold it up. And they're more comfortable with doing that. At least Romero, he gets out there and make things happen. Winks again. Look, Winks just doesn't do anything at all.
Yeah. There you are, kidding the long shot. There you are, kidding the long shot. But for me, Sanchez doesn't know what happened. Winks definitely watches things happen. Davies, sometimes I feel like he also falls in a bit of both. I do feel like he falls in a bit of both there when it comes to Davies. But kidding the long shot, big yourself up, my man. Really do appreciate the generous one as well, brother. And hopefully you're enjoying the ratings as well. But we do also have Moondog saying, Dermot, your stuff will be posted in the morning.
Good man. Yeah, he's very kindly done some coved our TTG into tea toasters cozies for all of us. So yeah, so he's done that for all four of us, so all five of us. So yeah, so thank you, Moondog. It's very kindly.
You're making me jealous. Me and Jack need one for the Irish Hotspur now. Get in contact with me. Get in contact with me. I want to sort that. I want to get me and Jack one. Please do get in contact. Email and all this.
Have we got a fifth member now, Dermot?
Yeah, well, you may. Oh yeah, there's four. Sorry. Yeah, I've got.
All right. Okay. Let's just.
Yeah.
Never know what's going on behind the scenes nowadays.
You got to catch up, I guess, Kuba.
Sorry, I meant four, not five.
But we did just go for, it seems like 2 is the common rating I've seen from the Harris Army here. So it seems like 2 is the rating here for Sanchez, everybody. So we are going to move on. Ben Davies here getting a 4 from David and I. I'll be honest, I think this is actually being kind. I actually feel like this is being kind. If we rewatch that first goal, again, I've said this before, for me, Kuva and Dermot, you might as well just put a red nose on him and get the big wig out. Because it really is just a clown sort of, moment. It's 30 seconds of just like, I don't really know what's going on. How does this guy get paid to play football weekly? Simply, Ben Davies in that first goal, I think he almost drops a whole 2 or 3 points for just that first goal, what he's doing there. Simply unbelievable. All 3 goals are just calamitous mistakes from defenders. I would probably argue the first goal is certainly not the worst of the mistakes of the 3 goals. I think the first goal is really quite shocking from Ben Davies. So for me, because even also the guy that I believe received it, I believe it was Broja, whoever scored it, was also sort of Ben Davies's man as well. Like after clearing it, so it really was just, I don't know. For me, I think he's lucky with getting away with a 4 here. I think a 3 is actually probably more accurate, but maybe I'm wrong here. Kuva, what do you think?
I think he was run ragged all game, but I'll still keep him as 4. He was below standard, definitely. But I think some of the others around him were playing even worse, and you've got to have numbers for them as well. So he was better than Sanchez. He was better than Emerson. So I think 4 is okay with me. If somebody's going to say 3, I won't argue with that either.
There you are, Dermot. What do you think? I mean, 4, 3. Where are you thinking?
I've been thinking about this one all day. Actually, he's been arguing around the 2 and 3. I think I'd have to give him a 3, just out of push, because he was slightly better than Sanchez and Royale. But that's just a push. Again, he was at fault for the first goal. He slipped, as Dave said, he should never have slipped. It's just, he seemed to be all over the place last night, as well as the rest of the defenders. So, yeah, 3 for me, Jack.
3 for you.
Yeah, I think he kind of reminded us that he's not really a centre back last night.
Yeah.
I think he reminded us that he has these sort of moments in him. I think he had gone a long time without them. And Dave and I were speaking to each other about this, but we're going to speak about Harry Winks later. But I think we all know that these sort of players, Sanchez included, they have these sort of performances that do kind of make you just scratch your head and just kind of think to yourself, you're like, how long do these sort of runs happen? Like, how long do, these sort of players, go on a good run until these sort of performances happen? Because it does feel like with Ben Davies, Harry Winks, and Sanchez, it's like a factory or something. It's like 30 days, without an accident, sort of players. And I don't know, it's like there's always going to be another accident at the end of the day. And it feels that way with Ben Davies, and it's come recently. I think a 3 is being still quite generous, but it seems like a 3 is the common one. A 2 I've seen before.
I think 3 is the most common, Jack.
I would say 3 is what the Harris Army has gone with here. So 3 for Ben Davies, everybody. There you are. Emerson, I've gone for a 3 with Emerson. Dave has gone for a 2. The reason I gave Emerson a 3 is just because I think he was 1 point better than Sanchez. I think he is still absolutely atrocious last night, but I think he was 1 point on the scale better than Sanchez. So I probably would say, maybe on reflection, Sanchez gets the 1, Emerson gets the 2 here. I don't really have a lot to say other than, again, another sort of like clown nose, just clown defensive performance. Emerson's really more been kind of reputationally been kind of, applauded for his sort of defensive performances. This was a performance where you really do question whether he even has good defensive skills. He's certainly not good going forward. He gave the ball so many times, didn't do anything that really helped us going forward. A pretty shocking performance where, you really do question whether, probably with this guy, like whether he really is good enough to play at this sort of level, is what we probably were thinking after this. But Dave, you've gone for a 2. I really would also go for a 2 here for me personally. But what do you feel like? Maybe to my point, the same as Sanchez, worse than Sanchez, bit better than Sanchez. What are your thoughts?
I thought a bit better than Sanchez, to be honest with you. Look, I can't help but look at the game and think he had the wrong studs on. I mean, the guy was slipping and sliding everywhere, especially on the ball. I can't help but look at the game and think, did he have the wrong studs on, and is that why he was slipping everywhere? But in terms of his performance yesterday, I mean, look, he was atrocious on the ball. I mean, touches everywhere. It's like he was just it's like you're kicking a ball off a concrete wall. You kick it to him, it was just bouncing off him. And couldn't really get control of it. Defensively, look, I know a lot of people blame him for that second goal. I don't. I look at it. Yes, he could have done better, but I look at it. Kulusevski lost his man. He let him run into the box. But also, he had another player there and another player on the edge of the box. So there was 3 players. And I have the image here. I'll just get it up. But there was 3 players that he was in charge of marking, which I thought was maybe a bit harsh on on the
Oh
guy.
yeah, for the first goal. I know what you're saying, actually,
Look.
Dave. I actually didn't say this.
Look, see all them 3 Southampton players there. Why is Sanchez up Romero's hole? Where's Sanchez?
No, I agreed with you on that first goal, Dave. I actually said this before, and I'm actually surprised I didn't say this during my kind of rationale. I actually feel like the first goal, I believe that's the first goal you're talking about, Dave, that they conceded from the, not the first goal they scored, but
That's
the
their
first goal
second goal,
from those
yeah.
James Ward-Prowse headers.
Yes.
The second goal, the first goal from those James Ward-Prowse sort of cross goal headers, but the second goal, I actually thought Emerson wasn't really at fault as much for that one. And the reason being is because when you do kind of look at it, he did have, I think, 2 or 3 players that he did have to mark, and he seemed like he was a bit overwhelmed by that.
Yeah.
Where Sanchez all of a sudden was just trying to play like bunk bed, like, cuddly wuddly with, the one that, Romero was, marking. So I don't know. I actually completely agree, Dave. I actually thought Emerson was atrocious on both goals, but the second one, I actually didn't think he was as bad as probably the third one. I actually thought the second one
Do you think
had more
he's
to do with
marking his
Sanchez.
player there, Jack?
I think he's trying to. I think he sees 3 players there that
His
he's
player's
wondering which
behind
one to
him.
go to.
He can't even see him.
The player he's marking though isn't the one that scored.
It doesn't matter. You'd still mark somebody, don't you? He's marking nobody. He's
Yeah,
ball
but the thing
rocking
is,
and
you
the
look
player's
at Sanchez.
behind him.
You look at Sanchez and Emerson. One of them should be coming across.
Oh yeah, sure.
Look
Yeah,
at Sanchez
Sanchez is making it so Emerson has to mark
Sanchez
2 or
has
3
to come
players.
across and
you've
help
got our
them.
entire midfield marking nobody there.
Yeah.
Sanchez is marking Romero's.
Yeah.
And so I think that's kind of the issue there.
But Emerson, he's got the one player that's close to him is behind him. He has no idea he's there.
Yeah, no, but look, I get it, but at the same time, you're looking at me as the player out on the edge of the box. There's a player on the edge of the box, and there's someone in beside him as well. Whereas Romero and Sanchez are marking the same man. It's kind of like someone needs to take control of that defense. Romero should be telling Sanchez get across, but Emerson should be also calling for Sanchez to come across and help him. But when you look at the third goal, I mean, it's his fault. Cooper, we were talking about beforehand, like you're talking, playing amateur football. From any set piece, any crosses coming into the box, touch tight. You should be able to feel the man, your man, and you should be going to be able to compete and win that header. The third goal, no excuses. But when I look at that second goal that a lot of people are blaming Emerson for, I mean, look, he's marking. There's 3 players there. Potential of all 3 of them coming into the box. Which one does he pick up? Why is Sanchez not coming across? But look, overall, Emerson was absolutely piss poor yesterday.
Yeah. What about you, Dermot? I mean, I've given him a 3. I really feel like a 2 is what I would actually give him. David's given him a 2. Kuva, I'm not sure if you've given him a rating. Was it a 1? Was
Not
it
yet.
a 2?
I'm rating him a 1 purely because he managed to negotiate getting out of the players' tunnel successfully, and he had his shirt on the right way round. That's it.
And the boots were checked and looked good.
You could even argue he cost Harry Kane a goal when Harry Kane was stooping for the header.
Yeah,
he was trying to kick up on his face.
Yeah, I remember when Ben Davies did that
the only
to Romero.
contribution was bad. We would have been better if he wasn't on the pitch. It was that
I remember against Man United when Ben Davies did that to Romero, and I went livid when he took that goal away for Romero. So I know what you're saying. Dermot seems like a 1. Just for maybe being able to get through the gates and everything. And put on the jersey the right way, or the kit the right way, and put on the boots on the right foot. He's given him a 1 for that. What do you give him?
I give him a 0. I wouldn't even give him a 1 for that. He should be nowhere near a football pitch. He should be nowhere near Tottenham. He should be. Somebody said in the comments, he's the only Brazilian who can't play football, and we bought them. We bought that one player. He's good at jumping into people, and he's good at feigning injury. He's good at that because that's the South American way. But everything else he can't do. He can't defend. He can't attack. He can't cross a ball. If you want me, I will give him a 1, but that's just me being kind.
No, give him what you want. Yeah. It's your score, man. Give him whatever you want.
I'll give him a 0. I'll give him a 0. Honestly, I think I would give him more than that, but a 0, that's what I give him because he cannot play football. I would do better. Coover would do better. You and Dave would do better than him. It's just unreal. I mean, who scouted this player? Was it Hitchin? Then if Hitchin scouted him, then
I don't think it was.
I think that just sums
Actually,
it up
to be
completely.
fair, Dermot, I wouldn't do better than him because I don't think I would fit out of the tunnel.
No, but at least you would go on there and kick a player up the backside and actually, show a bit of mentality. He doesn't even show that.
Do you know what? I actually do think Emerson does get stuck in, but sometimes he lunges in too much and he gets bet too easy. I think that's a bit more of his problem.
Yeah. But Dave, you're a defender. Your thing as a defender is to defend. It's to, when you get a corner, you stay with your man. It's a thing. I think Cooper said to me once, if you can see the man in front of you, his number, then he's ahead of you.
Yeah.
You just stick to him.
Yeah.
He doesn't even do that. And then that puts the rest of the defence into out of order. Because then Romero is saying, well, I've got to mark him plus him. Davies is saying the same. Sanchez, well, he's another clown. So he doesn't mark anyone. So you've got two defenders marking 6 players.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? And it just doesn't work. And even Doherty, for how bad he's been, would I think would have done a slightly better job last night. And he's awful. But he wouldn't do any worse than what Emerson does.
I'll be honest with you. Look, I do think Emerson needs to be dropped, but I'd be very hesitant at Doherty. Let's not easily forget what happened against Arsenal when he played. He got destroyed with the same move for 90 minutes straight.
Exactly, I know. But what do you do? We haven't got another right wing back. So what do you do? As Cuba said, play the kids. That's what you do.
I'm not giving up on Emerson yet. I'm just not. Look, Kyle Walker at 22 was loaned out to Aston Villa.
Yeah.
He was not the finished article at 22. I do think Emerson has similar traits to Kyle Walker. He's built. He's got a bit of pace about him. For me, I just think he's coming into a tricky situation. We've needed him to hit the ground running without any adaptation period. I do think, look, yesterday was absolutely atrocious, but overall, has he stemmed a lot of the mistakes coming from down that side over the course of this season? I would say yes. Yesterday was absolutely atrocious, but over the course of this season, I think defensively, he stopped a lot of the errors that were happening out there. Now, going forward, I mean, yes, he could be better. I'll be honest, sometimes it's worse than watching Serge Aurier across a football. But he's 22. I'm not giving up on him yet. I'm not.
The jury's still out for me, Dave. Jack. The jury's still out for me.
Yeah.
I think he needs a good pre-season probably and get Conte really get into him. We might see a different player, but the jury's still out for me.
Do you know what it is? I just think someone needs time to work on him positionally. I think if his positional sense was maybe a bit better in terms of inside the box and stuff like that, I think, because one thing I did notice, and Match of the Day brought up last night, especially on that third goal, he was thinking about going forward when the ball was out on our left-hand side, out on the back line. His first instinct should be cutting inside, getting inside to help the centre-backs. And that's why ultimately that third goal happened, because he got in there just that too late. The cross was already on its way in before he reacted to get across. And if he just thought about defending first and then going forward, I think you would see in a much more improved Emerson Royale.
Yeah, but Dave, the point is he should already know where his positions is.
I get that, but Kyle Walker at 22, that's why we loaned them out.
Yeah, but the problem is, Dave, these kids start at 9, 8, 9, 10.
Yeah,
they start earlier in Brazil. He should know what position he should be in. He should know, right, I need to be here, I need to be there. You can't, 23 is not young anymore. 23 is old now. You've got players coming in, 15, 16, that play non-league, that play in League 1, League 2 Championship, that play better than he does. And they're not even Premier League standard. But they know which position to go into, who to pick up. If he doesn't even bark out, he doesn't even shout at the other defenders if they make a mistake.
Oh, no, 100%.
The very fact that you're having to say, I can see him being taught to how to defend one day. The fact you're saying that shows how little he's got. He can't attack already. You're admitting he can't defend now. But he
No, that's not what I said. I said over the course of this season, he's eliminated a lot of the mistakes. Coming from that right back area, from that right wing area, he's eliminated a lot of the mistakes defensively. Yesterday, he was absolutely atrocious. I'm not admitting he can't defend, because that's not true. Because if you look over the course of the season, compared to what we were watching last season, he stopped a lot of the goals coming from that side.
But you were saying about he needs to have some work done with him in positional sense.
Yeah.
Surely that's a major part of defending, isn't it? It certainly was when I played.
Yeah, but not
It
everybody.
feels like for that game it was, but then for other games it wasn't. I think just in those cases he made extraordinary mistakes that I don't know, but like I agree with what you're saying, Kuva. I know what you're actually trying to say, but with the way David put that, I know what you're trying to say. But I think like I agree with what David's been saying. But then you would look at other games where Emerson steps in at the right time, only to keep the ball from going in from the back of the net. So I would say positionally, sometimes he does make actually the right decisions. I just thought the last game was a game that was extremely concerning, and to write everything off with him, I think would be harsh. To maybe start to see kind of big worry signs, I would say is completely fair, because I think defensively that was his sort of like mainstay. That was his sort of kind of defining sort of characteristic that made him his best. And we just saw a performance where that all went out the door. But let's say he has another good defensive performance, then maybe it is just a bad day at the office defensively. But when it comes to mistakes down the right-hand side, when it comes to boneheaded mistakes, if you're saying Aurier would not have made that same sort of movement, that same sort of error, I think you're probably lying to yourself. But hopefully Emerson can come through. But I defended the guy quite, adamantly, and I am really starting to lose faith, I'll be honest. But Dermot, you want to say something?
I think if he had somebody else past Sanchez next to him and just telling them, right, you need to be there, you need to be there, you need to mark in.
Yeah.
He's got nobody next to him. You've already got Reggie, who I think is fantastic. Reggie puts his heart and soul into it. You've got Davis, who's not a centre back. You've got Romero, who is a centre back, and you've got Sanchez, who couldn't defend if he was put into a bunch of kindergarten kids and told to pass the ball. They couldn't even do that properly. So, when Emerson is struggling, it makes him look 30 times worse because he's got a defender that can't defend next to him.
Exactly.
So you've got two defenders there, but that doesn't point that at 23 years of age, he should know himself what position to be in, where to be.
We say that though, Dermot. Look at Trent Alexander-Arnold from Liverpool. Defensively, he's all over the place. He doesn't know where to be, but he has good centre backs in beside him who cover up and make him look a lot better defensively than what he needs to be. At the end of the day, he's 22. He's not going to know exactly everything. We're talking about Premier League level here. It's a complete different level. There is some stuff he is going to have to be learned. He's a right back, not a centre back. He's been brought up in an era, where the right back role is a slight bit different than what it used to be. He does look. Kyle Walker was nowhere near the finished product at 22. Like I said, he was on loan at Aston Villa, but he went out there. He learned the game. He learned different things. He came back, and look at the player we got.
So, do you think if we send Emerson out on loan, would that be a good idea?
Look, whether it's on loan or whether it's giving Conte a summer to work with him, a proper time to work with him, I think yes. I think you will see a better player there. You're talking about a player that came in under Nuno. He's been playing right back. Then he moves to right wing back, and we've had a lot of games. Conte hasn't had a lot of time to work with this guy. But again, like I said, you put a decent centre back beside him, like Liverpool do to Trent Alexander-Arnold. He looks a complete different player.
He's trying to assemble the car while the car is moving. It feels like Antonio Conte when it comes to Emerson. William Kelly.
Sorry, Jack. To be fair, I'll just quickly finish up my point. To be fair, I think Emerson would be a great backup to a decent right wing back, and just have him there in case we need him. But to start week in, week out, I don't think so. I think he's not good enough at this level, and that's a shame to say. But
I'm starting to feel that way too, Dermot. I'm starting to feel that way too.
To get this far, he surely must have been taught how to do all these things. But he's just
I think he was, Kuva, but this is my point earlier. I think this was an atrocious performance by him defensively. But to say that he hasn't had unbelievable defensive performances would then be unkind to him. There have been matches where he's been unbelievable, I think, defensively. And so this is, I think, I don't know, it feels like kind of the Tanganga situation, but hopefully it doesn't go to the Tanganga situation where then it's three matches in a row, of really similar, atrocious performances. But I would say it's like there have been matches where it would be unkind to him to say that he hasn't had good defensive performances that were really solid, that were really stuck in. And there were, especially when Emerson was really coming in, we really did have a few matches where we thought he was better than Reguilon. So there were, I don't know. I think
Reguilon had a real dip in form at one point, didn't he?
Right. And there were times when we were like, look at what Emerson can do. He can get up and down the pitch. Maybe he's not as good, going forward, but he's solid defensively. I don't know. Like, it feels like Emerson, that was a god awful performance, but I'd like to think that maybe he won't replicate it. And then we'll all of a sudden perhaps see maybe something there again. But I don't know. I am starting to lose a bit of faith. But William Kelly here with the super chat saying, Jesus, what a day yesterday. Who would be a Spurs fan? Wait, I am. I've still got half the customer's garage door hanging out of the roof rack. So it sounds like, William Kelly, you didn't let me know whether you could fix it yourself, because that's what I want to know, whether you could just fix it yourself and just, maybe just call it a day. But I don't know, like, hopefully
it makes it sound like he just drove off halfway through fixing it, has torn it off.
Yeah, I think that's actually what he did. I think he just left the scene of the crime.
I've just got images in my head, him driving down the road and out the garage door, just banging on the road.
He's got the match on while he's working on the garage door, and that third goal went in, and he's just like, "That's it, I'm out of here."
Yeah, he probably still winked and then said, "Back this, I'm gone."
Yeah.
William Kelly, I think it's too late. I think Luke he's already a Spurs fan. It's just too late. He had that time, maybe to dip out of being a Spurs fan. I think it's too late for him. You've already poisoned him. But hopefully you fix this roof situation or this garage situation. But Dave, anything to say, William Kelly? I mean, he's just trying to forget everything about yesterday, let alone Spurs. A lot of other things he's trying to forget.
I mean, what I would say is technically I think William might have won yesterday because he has parts to sell for a garage door that other people might want in future. So if they need certain parts that might not be on the market, who has them? William Kelly. So maybe there is a plus to be taken from yesterday, William. But big yourself up, my man. I really do hope you enjoyed your birthday and went for a pint like I told you to last night.
Yeah, enjoy yourself, William Kelly. Take the night off. Enjoy yourself, brother. But do appreciate the consistent support. And someone who's also been showing a lot of really consistent support recently, Dave, has been William McKenzie. And yet again, has thrown in another really big one here. William McKenzie, really do appreciate it. And I don't know, David, he's just been incredibly generous recently and has just shown a lot of support. And this is pretty much all he writes. I guess he just enjoys the content, hasn't been enjoying, the shows. But William McKenzie, really do appreciate it. Been really, really generous recently, my man.
No, William, you're a top man.
I just want to ask you one question, Dave, about Emerson. Then I'm sorry, I don't mean it's just come to me. Who would you buy instead of him? If you had to buy another right wing back, who would you buy to have in place of him? That would be ready to hit the ground running.
Don't know. I'd have to go and do my scouting.
And that goes to you as well, Jack. That's the same question to you.
I'd probably get
Thank you.
Ridley Baku, I think, someone who I looked at from the Bundesliga, plays right wing back. But William McKenzie, Dave, just to thank him, just big support here.
Yeah, William McKenzie, look, my man, you're an absolute gentleman. Look, this guy always pops in and supports when he can. He absolutely loves this channel. And big yourself up, William. And like I said, I hope you're enjoying life down there in New Zealand, my man. New Zealand. Let me know if you're a smoker, because I believe you won't ban smoking from under a certain age group. So there'll be no smoking over there in years to come. So let me know. Hopefully that doesn't affect you, William, but probably doesn't actually, because this is a guy that won his cup final, actually, if I remember. So he probably doesn't smoke at all if he's winning cup finals. But big up,
box to box.
Maybe William could come in and do a job for Tottenham. But big up, William, my man. Big yourself up. Dermot, in terms of what you were saying there, I'll be honest with you, he's not older than Emerson, but I really do like him, and that's Livramento for Southampton. I really do like him. But, I mean, I don't know. I don't know. For me, I just want someone that... I want them to be inside the top 10, maybe 15 best right backs in the world. That's what we should be aiming for. I'll be honest with you, I really actually do like this Jed Spence as well. I've watched him in 2 FA Cup games now. I've been very, very impressed with what I've seen from this guy. I think if we get him for the 15 million, what an absolute steal. I really do. Look, with Emerson, with Jed Spence, he has more chance of succeeding because he knows the English game. whereas Emerson doesn't. He's coming from a complete different entire league. You know, it's Spanish football. It's a lot slower. You have a lot more time on the ball. You're not as rushed quickly. And I do think Emerson is just maybe finding it hard to adapt. I do think Emerson will get a lot better. I really do. But I do think if we bought Jed Spence, he'd probably come in and hit the ground running because he knows English football.
I do agree with that, actually. I do agree with that. Especially that transition from the championship. He could kind of be like an Ollie Watkins sort of kind of like move, just, hits the ground running sort of situation. But Willie McKenzie, big yourself up, my man. Do really appreciate the support. Thank you for the big one as well, Willie McKenzie. Big yourself up, my man.
Quick answer to Dermot, though, was Divine Wrench for Ajax. Can play anywhere across the back four, central midfield as well. Bag of tricks, lots of pace, aggressive, tall, does everything. Just
Mazraoui on the free. Would you take Mazraoui on the free if we were to be that club to get him? I doubt we would be that club.
Yeah.
We all would. Region here. 6s from Dave and I. I actually thought Region had a good game, and I actually feel like if we were to really rewatch that game back, I actually thought Region didn't exactly do a whole lot wrong, apart from that glorious opportunity that he missed. I think if he had buried that would have been the opening goal. It could have been an entirely different game if he had scored that. I think he could have. We've been talking about an 8 or a 9, sort of performance if Reggie had scored that. I'm really frustrated that he couldn't score that. I said even to Dave, I think at one stage at halftime, I was thinking like with Region missing that really concerns me whether this guy's confidence in front of goal, because our wingbacks are going to find situations where they will be in front of goal. Do they have the confidence actually to maybe have a shot? It feels like Region, after missing that one, my worries are there where he seems to not be able to put the ball in the net. But Region, I thought, had a spectacular performance. Also had lots of chances that I feel like he put into the box. Thought he put a fair few of crosses. Thought he made some intelligent runs for Harry Kane. I thought he pressured a lot. I thought he was getting up and down the pitch. I just simply thought Region actually had a really good game, despite how many bad performances there were. I thought Region actually had a decent game. And I would say as well, the fact that he didn't, I don't know, if he had scored that initial chance, I think it was like 16, 18 minutes in or whatever it was, I mean, we'd be talking about an entirely different game. So I am really frustrated he missed that.
Yeah, look, for me, when it comes to Reguilon, Jack, I said it in the pre-match build-up yesterday, I think this is a player that goes, a lot of his hard work goes unnoticed, especially against Brighton. Look at the amount of unselfish runs this guy makes forward, overlaps, which creates space for Son or Kane to cut in and have a shot if they want, or give him. He basically, what he does do, he drags the defender with them, gives them stuff to think about. Yesterday, I actually thought going forward he was excellent. You look at after the first half, within the first 15 minutes, I think he put 3 crosses into the box where we could have scored from. One of them for Lucas, that Harry Kane header that he headed down into the ground and went over the bar. And there was another one after that as well. In terms of the first half, he missed a chance, but look, he's a left back. Yes, he does need to do better. Maybe someone could pull him aside and just say, look, when you're in these positions, just be a bit more composed. Expect the keeper's going to rush out to you and maybe dink it. But apart from that, I actually think this guy is a very good player. He does, for as much as he runs forward, he does an unbelievable amount of tracking back as well. He gets back and make recoveries. You look at the 2 crosses that came in from that side. I've looked at them. I don't blame him for them 2 goals from the crosses that came out, because he's actually marking his man. What actually happened is the winger passed it back. One of the midfielders went over there and overloaded and was swinging it in. And for just at one of them, Sonny was way in too far. And on the other one, Bentancur was in way too far. But again, I find it hard to blame them. I just think Southampton's overloads were very clever yesterday. And I do not blame the 2 crosses that came in that side on Reguilon, because if you look at it, it was passed backwards. It was kind of 2-on-1 out there. What is the guy supposed to do?
Yeah, I know what you're saying there, Dave. I do know what you're saying there. Kuva, what are your thoughts? Reguilon played well, didn't play well for us. Dave and I actually thought he played quite well, actually.
I thought he had a good game. I'll give him a 7 out of 10.
7 out of 10.
It was him and Kane were our only real attacking outlets in that first half.
I agree.
And he got up and down the pitch all game long, putting in lots of crosses, mixed results on it. One of the crosses, particularly to Kane, where we thought Kane was definitely going to score. That was a beauty. He could have grabbed a goal. He gets a bit nervous in front of goal, clearly. It's not the first time he's missed a bit of a sitter.
Yeah.
So
He's not
it's
confident
obviously
in front of the goal.
no, he's not. I
That
mean, at the
confirmed
end of
it
the
for
day,
me
he's a
that he
wing back
wasn't.
rather than an attacker, isn't he? So,
But we've seen it
Yeah.
time before, though, lads. You know, when he should be shooting, he's trying to square it or put it across
Yeah.
when you're just having a crack.
yeah, some players just don't have it in their locker. Unfortunately, looks like he's one of them. But he's doing everything else very well. Defensively as well, I think he's a lot better than people give him credit for. He is making the right decisions a lot more than he used to. He went through a really rocky period early in the season and last season as well. But he's coming back to it. The only thing I've got with Reguilon is he is still not back to that player that we got initially. He when he first arrived, he was sensational, and he's not quite found that level again. He's clawed it back a bit, but it's still the best. It's still the best option we've got there at the moment. Actually, I think to be fair, Sessegnon's quite a good option as well now.
Yeah, I
we're
like
okay
the
there.
competition between those two. I do like
If
that.
only one of them was right-footed, that would solve a lot of things at the moment.
That'd be funny. Dermot, we've gone for 6s. Kuva's gone for a 7. Do you feel like Reguilon, actually played well that match, or maybe did we see something else? Maybe he actually didn't play well.
No, he played very well, and I'm stuck between the 7 and an 8 for him, really, because he was one of our better players out there. I think he defended well. I think he bombed forward brilliantly. As you say, he's always leaving that space open for Sonomura to cut in. Do you know what? I like Reggie. He's one of my favourite players, actually, out of the whole squad. I'll give him an 8 because I think for pure passion and determination and just willingness to play for the badge. When you see Son got that goal, he was pumping his chest, telling the crowd, come on, give more noise, just really banging his chest like, this is for me. This is what I played for. So, yeah, I'll give him an 8, I think, for passion and determination and just being I think out of the defenders, apart from Mera, being a good out of a bad lot. But, yeah, for me, he's one of my favourite players, and I think he's only going to get better and better.
There you are, Sergio Reguilon. There you are, Sergio Reguilon. Got a home with Tottenham Tantrum Gold by the looks, but it seems like you got a fan
honestly
base over
think by the time he leaves us, he'd be a legend of the club. I really do. I think he'd be one of the best left backs.
He's got a home with you guys. Looking forward to the interview. He's got a home with you guys by the looks of it. But we will move on. Seems like with the chat, I've seen a lot of 7s. I think
7, I think, would be. I think
Reguilon the 7 seemed to be the common one for the Harris Army here. So it seems like a 7 for Reguilon. But we are going to move on here. I'd love Jeremy Frimpong, Tyler, but
that's the guy that was at Celtic, Jack, isn't it? He the bottom from Celtic.
I think so. I believe so. But he's looking good. There are a lot of good right wing backs. The one I suggested was that guy from Wolfsburg. But big up, Tyler. Though I like where your head's at. Moving on to Harry Winks here. I've gone for a 4. Dave's gone for a 2. Considerable difference, I might actually say. For me, with Harry Winks, he was atrocious in the sense that he's so easy to play through. He's so easy to bully in the midfield. He's not even that great on the ball as much as people want to just... This is my problem. Højbjerg, at the end of the day, he gives you that grit. He gives you that graft. When he's playing at his worst, when he's playing at his absolute worst, he still gives you that grit. He gives you that graft. He gives you that defensive sort of security. Where Winks, when he is not playing at his best, you do kind of question what he actually brings to the team. Because he's not really giving you very good passing. He's supposed to be able to play those passes that get you out of pressure. He's supposed to be able to play those passes that kind of punish Southampton for bringing so many men forward. And yet he just simply doesn't. And I feel like I go for a lower rating, but there weren't exactly... I don't know. I'm trying to just not have my Winks hater cap on, which is my favorite cap, I'll be honest. But I really am just trying to be objective about it. And for me, maybe... Harry Winks gets a 4, but I don't know. I can't really give any reasons for why it isn't a 3 or a 2. But for me, Dave, Harry Winks, it's a 4, but you've gone for a 2. And I think some of the reasons that I even just explained earlier are probably the reasons why you're giving him that 2.
Yeah, he's gone from winky to wanky again, Jack. Look, for me, I actually think I've been too generous giving him a 2. The more I speak about this guy, the more angry it gets me. I mean, look, what more can I say on him that I haven't already said? Everyone that's listening right now knows exactly what my thoughts are. You know, he done no running in midfield. Højbjerg was pressing at times. It's called a partnership for a reason. And you look, where's Winks standing there, taking in the fresh air, looking around, taking in the atmosphere. Look, I'll be honest with you. I mean, you could put me into complete 5-yard passes. It's not the most difficult thing in the world. And this has always been my problem with him. He's too safe. He can't handle pressure. He's too weak in midfield. And he's just not a Tottenham player whatsoever. He should not be here. I'm actually putting it down to a 0 because I actually don't think he affected the game. And we're going to get onto it, but I know a lot of people are going to slate Højbjerg. But at least Højbjerg had an effect on the game. Do you know, I watched Match of the Day highlights and I watched the full match again. Match of the Day highlights, no highlights from Harry Winks whatsoever in it. Completely ineffectual. I actually want to downgrade that to a 0. I don't know what I was on when I gave him a 2.
Much worse than the 2. I agree, Dave. I completely agree. I just have tried to just not just go down. I don't know, Dave.
It's hard, Jack, though. You can't help but go down that route because
I just don't. Dave, I'm just not an I told you so. I'm just not an I told you so sort of person. So I've tried to be humble about it. We've never jumped on the Harry Winks train, Dave, over here. We've never jumped on it, even when it seemed like he was getting back into things like Ben Davies was. And for me personally, I just don't want to make a big deal of it. But he did play extraordinarily terribly, exceptionally terribly. And I know he deserves the 2 or 1, but I don't know. I just don't want to. I don't know, Dave, like you said last night, it just hurts. And I'm just giving him the 2 or the 1. It just don't really get as much enjoyment out of it. I kind of just don't even enjoy having to explain anymore to people why Harry Winks isn't good enough for this team. I don't know, Dave. So I don't know. I think I've just given him a depressing 4, even though I know it's a lot worse than that.
I fully understand where you're coming from, but when he puts in performances like that, he just brings it on himself. I mean, it's not like we're going out the way to criticize the guy, but when he does get his chance and he puts in performances like that, he brings it on himself. And I'm actually at the point where I'm fed up of talking about the guy. I'm actually bored of it. It's been nearly 2 long years now talking about this crap. And it's got to the point, Jack, where it actually hurts now.
Yeah.
You know, it actually hurts my head. It hurts my heart. Seeing a guy that's come through the academy, putting in the performances that he consistently does and gets away with it. It's gone beyond the point of being a laughing stock, of digging him out, talking about him, exposing his weaknesses. My job is done. Everyone has woken up to it now. It's just got to the point where now it just fucking hurts. I don't even want to talk about the guy anymore because there's nothing to talk about. There's nothing to talk about when it comes to this guy.
Yeah, there is nothing. Dermot, Winks, 3, 2, 4, 1.
I'm actually going for a -2.
-2 here. We'll see if it be topped by Kuva later.
Look, there's no point talking about Winks because we know he's useless. We know he can't play football. He goes on, thinks he's a model, right? His hair's still in the most perfect place when he walks off. You know, he doesn't get in and dirt. He lost the ball on the edge of the area yesterday. Southampton nearly scored a goal. What's he doing? It was your fault. Blaming other players instead of taking responsibility and playing and taking for his own mistakes. He cannot. He brings Højbjerg down. So when Skip plays, Højbjerg goes up a gear. When Winks plays, Højbjerg always plays bad. You know, there's got to be some sort of that can't be a coincidence. Every time Winks plays, Højbjerg plays bad. Every time Winks doesn't play, Højbjerg plays good. Because Højbjerg doesn't have to worry about is Winks going to do his job, because you know Skippy will do his job. Time after time after time, manager after manager, put the faith in Winks, and what's he do? He lets them down every single time. And he can't pass, he can't hit, he can't play football. Even Emerson's a better player than he is. And that's just something about Emerson.
That's the competition of bad footballers. I'll tell you that.
I mean, who can be the worst footballer, Winks or Emerson? I think
who makes
Winks
you turn off the TV first is really the question. Yeah.
And I just want to add, like, just quickly, every time this guy plays, right, we always sit there after talking about, well, did we play him in the right position? You know, should we have changed the formation for him and everything else? Complete wrong way of looking at it. Just call a spade a spade. The guy is absolutely rubbish. You know, it's always Harry Winks after the game where we talk about, well, should we have played this formation? You know, should we have put more men in there to help him? At the end of the day, a modern day midfielder needs to be able to do a bit of everything. And Harry Winks just cannot. He's only ever looked good when he's been the deepest lying midfielder in a tree with Højbjerg and Skip doing all the other work for him. We can't keep persisting with this guy and after every game sit there talking about putting more extra men in midfield. I mean, like, we always make excuses for this guy, you know, but like we always blame the manager. We always say the manager's tactics or the manager this, the manager that. They're asking him to do things he can't do. I mean, we're asking Højbjerg to do things he can't do, but he still does them. You know, but we make excuses for Harry Winks all the time. I am fed up with this guy. I'm fed up with it. Every time he plays, straight away, the other managers are rubbing their hands and they're like, right, boys, straight down the middle. You know, you don't even have to come up with any tactics. Straight down the middle, get the balls into the box and camp yourself on the edge of the box because Harry ain't challenging. It's a free pass. When he plays, you're playing with 10 men, not 11.
Kuba. When Harry Winks plays on the pitch, do you feel like we're playing with 11 men or 10 men? You know, I'll leave the question of that because that probably makes his rating in between. You know, if you say it's 10 men, then it's a 3 and below. If it's 11 men, then it's probably a 4 and above.
I'm gonna say he's pointless playing in a 4-man midfield. If we're playing in the 5, you can support him. But I mean, I think we're having this conversation before the show, weren't we, David? It's do you really want to have a player that you're forced to play 2 other players to cover his defensive work? He's not the player you do that with.
But then he's not even that great of a passer, like to begin with. I feel like if you're gonna even do that for him, he's not even that great of a passer. I feel like to begin with.
Yeah, he's not. He was below average because he was okay with his boring pass, and he did a few forward passes, not many, but it was mostly sideways, backward, safe option again. That's why I kind of had him rated above Højbjerg because Højbjerg was absolutely calamitous. He was panicking with a ball at his feet. It's probably the worst game I've seen Pierre play for us. He was shocking. Winks was pretty much expected rubbish when he's up against it. But he can't cover. The thing that Højbjerg usually makes up for is he's so good at screening the defense, putting in those tackles. But he was way off the pace on that yesterday as well.
Then might as well move into it then, Kuven. Maybe you set us off where Dave and I have given him.
Well, yeah, I mean, I was giving Winks a 4.
Giving him a 4 and
substandard. Yeah, overrun and substandard. Maybe a 3. Wouldn't argue a 3.
Kuba's, I think, maybe giving him maybe the most generous rating to Winks here, but Kuva, I'm going to keep you on the kettle here. I'm going to keep you hot. We've given him 5s, Højbjergs. Do you feel like that's being too generous? You know, pop our little bubble of Højbjerg, love.
For me, is that way too generous? Way too generous. The classic Højbjerg, this is as far away from it as you can see. Usually he's this combative midfielder that he's going to look after the back four. He's going to put in the challenges all over the place. He could never keep up with the play. The Southampton were moving the ball around too fast for him. He was never there. His passing was just panicked, belting it down the middle all the time. It was absolutely shocking. Don't enjoy saying that because he has got us out of holes lots of times. It was the kind of time where we needed him at his best to be that sort of rock to stand and weather the storm. And he just wasn't at it yesterday at all. Really, really poor game from him. And I had to just give him a 3, basically.
3. Wow.
I think the reason the reason Winks comes above him is because when Bentancur come on, Winks' game improved.
Do you not think that would have been the case if Højbjerg stayed on?
Yeah,
I feel like
I'm sure if he was still on the pitch, he would have improved as well. Bentancur was just bringing.
I think that's we're going to find out which one is going to be prettier and better alongside our beloved Bentancur is going to be the test of time. But
yeah,
Dermot, do you want to pump, kind of pop our Højbjerg love bubble? Do you feel like we're being way too kind to the guy? 2 5s from David and I.
I'll go for 6. I don't think he was that bad.
Right.
I thought Winks was even worse. I don't agree, Cooper. I do. I know opinions are great, and we all have different opinions, but I just trust Højbjerg more than I would Winks, and he had an assist. He was trying, though. He was trying, and that's why I'm giving him a 6 for he was trying. He didn't give up. Though he wasn't at his best, I agree. But for me, he tried and he made an assist. So that's why I give him the 6.
Yeah. To be fair, though, he did, bring himself forward. He does actually have to get forward, compared to Winks. Winks doesn't, get forward. I guess he's not allowed to, or he's not supposed to, maybe because we all know that Harry Winks won't exactly do anything for you, in the final thirds of the pitch. And so Højbjerg, found himself making, I will say, a very good run that Lucas Moura, thank God, was able to play him in behind for. And then, he did create a goal. So probably for that, I would say the fact that he did create the opening goal, Højbjerg, does maybe give him a bit of credit in the bank. And I think for me, Kuva, that's actually, if you were to say a deciding factor between Højbjerg and Winks, I would say that would actually give them maybe a bit of a deciding factor. Because at the end of the day, Højbjerg created a goal, despite them being both horrible. Højbjerg found himself in the final third. Højbjerg also has to do all the running that Winks doesn't want to do forward. And he also does all the work defensively. Even though I agree that Højbjerg was atrocious, I feel like sometimes when you then even see Højbjerg popping up with a goal, sort of creating action, that does kind of make me feel like, maybe, bad performance, but still did more at the end of the day. Maybe that's where David's coming from, I think.
What it did for me is it pushes Skip way ahead of him.
Interesting. I think a lot of people start to feel that way.
Skip, yeah.
A lot of people start to feel that way. But Dave, any final words, or we move on from Højbjerg?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest with you. Look, I said this to Kuva, but I don't understand how anyone could come off that game thinking Winks had a better game than Højbjerg. You look at Højbjerg, he played 60 minutes. He's got an assist, and he won the free kick that led to Romero's disallowed goal. So therefore, it just goes to show that he is progressing through the midfield into attack and offering a lot more than Harry Winks. And if you go back and look at the game, every time the ball was over Højbjerg's side of midfield, he got out and pressured. Of course, it's going to be easy to pass it off to the next guy when Harry Winks is standing 15 yards behind him, looking at the number on the back of his shirt. If he goes, Harry Winks has to go. That's the whole idea of a press. It's called a partnership for a reason. Now, look, we can all sit here and talk about Højbjerg. We have to remember how bad Harry Winks has consistently been. The only player that's ever been able to hold a decent standard midfield with Harry Winks has been Moussa Dembele, one of our best ever midfielders. The weakness is Harry Winks. Everybody is going to look bad beside Harry Winks. Everybody. Even Dembele's game didn't look as good beside Harry Winks. The guy brings it down that much. You look at Højbjerg, although didn't really make many successful tackles, at least the guy tried. At least he was out there pressing and running around. The two impacts he did have on the game, funny enough, were on Winks' side of the pitch. That whole side of the pitch where Winks is playing centre midfield, that's for him to control defensively and going forward. Why is Højbjerg making that run down the right-hand side to put the ball across? Where is fucking Harry Winks? I'll tell you where Harry Winks is, standing there looking at him. Right, you look at the free kick Højbjerg won for Romero's disallowed goal. Why is he over on the right-hand side doing a 1-2 with Lucas Moura? Where's Harry Winks doing it? My point is that Højbjerg is in the middle doing running around and work for two people defensively and attackingly, while this other little shithead is standing in midfield looking around at people. Now, I am not criticising Højbjerg too much for yesterday's performance when he's doing the load in there for two people. It's one man in there against two against Southampton's. It's so easy to play by him and make him look piss poor. But if Winks went and done the press like Højbjerg, where does that pass go from that centre midfielder? Back where it comes from and gives Højbjerg a proper chance of winning it. But because Harry Winks can't do that, it makes Højbjerg look poor and he can't win the ball. But when Højbjerg and Skip are both there, the both of them turn over the ball because the both of them press and make life hard. For me, I actually think you look at it, we all say about Winks, he made a couple of 5-yard passes. I mean, let's clap our hands together. I mean, it's what I expect from a professional footballer in the first place. But if you look at it in terms of who actually had an impact on the game, Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, 1 assist, and for the disallowed goal, won the free kick as well with a 1-2 at Lucas Moura. He had more of an impact in 60 minutes than what Harry Winks did in 90 minutes. And I think the reason why Højbjerg was taken off is because he's going to play at the weekend against Wolves. And at some stage, he has to be rested.
A lot of people's initial reaction during the game as well, though, like their live reaction was, why is Højbjerg being taken off, for Bentancur? Everybody kind of wanted, I think because we wanted probably to keep the lead, as well as also maybe if we were to have the lead, you would probably want it to be Højbjerg and Bentancur maybe together, because that could actually offer a bit more solidity. So I don't know. I think everybody also even wanted Winks to be off just in case we ended up going 2-1 up, which we ended up doing. And then, would have been probably a bit better off with perhaps Højbjerg and Bentancur together than Winks and Bentancur. But Jerome here saying, as bad as Højbjerg was yesterday, Harry Winks was 10 times worse. Even after we scored, I suddenly heard mistake from Winks and Brojan. Oh my God, knows exactly what he's talking about. And Brojan was off and almost scored. This is actually another thing where I think we're forgetting with the Winks sort of rating. There were 2 or 3 occasions where Winks did actually give away the ball in moments where Southampton were through on goal and probably should have scored. So Winks actually should have given up 2 goals, to think about it actually as well. And I think that if that had actually happened, I think everybody would not put Winks's player rating so close to Højbjerg's. Because Højbjerg never gave the ball away in a situation that led to a 1-on-1 with a keeper or a 2-on-1 or a 3-on-1, which ended up happening. But Dave, I do remember this. After we scored, just seconds later after we scored, the kickoff happens. And I did remember hearing that from the commentator, and it's a mistake from Winks.
Yeah, look, to be fair to the guy, Sanchez probably shouldn't have passed it into him. He was marked, there was and stuff like that. But the thing is, he's running towards Sanchez, right? He's not asking for the ball. And the reason why I know that is because when Bentancur came on, he made a similar run and he's there with his hands. Give me the ball. Winks wasn't calling for it. It was given into him. He got his pocket picked. But this is something we've seen time and time again. Go back to Bayern Munich, 7-2.
I was going to say, Winks' performance was similar to Bayern. Right? It was very similar to Bayern.
And the thing is, he got bowled over, but straight away, I remember we were talking about this exact same incident at halftime yesterday, Jack, and we were saying, if his job, and he's the one that's in that midfield where the defenders are supposed to give him the ball, and that's the way he's cowarding away, then what the fuck is he doing in this team? Because he can't tackle. He's only in this team to be able to, because of his passing, okay? Now, he can't take the ball from Sanchez without getting bowled over. Absolutely shocking. If the defenders have no confidence giving Winks the ball, then no wonder why we've seen Sanchez and Dyer ballooning it long up to Harry Kane. Of course we are, because no one trusts him. No one trusts the guy in midfield. Look, we're trying to get back to a situation where you want the ideal partnership, which was Dembele and Wanyama. Højbjerg is your Wanyama. He will go around, he will win balls. You put Bentancur in, there's your Dembele, there's your partnership. 2 people that work with each other. You cannot make a partnership out of Højbjerg and Winks. People want to look at Højbjerg and say, what about his passing? What about this, that, and the other? Okay, well, he's already got assists this year. He's already got a couple of goals. His passing can't be that bad. And if Winks was doing the job that he was supposed to be doing, well, then Højbjerg wouldn't have to be doing all of that passing, would he? The point is, Winks is not doing his job. And he's making Højbjerg look bad. But when Skip is in there, it looks all right. We can compete. Problem is Winks, not Højbjerg.
Big up to Rum. Big up to Rum. Do appreciate the support, my man. Always appreciate support. Really always throws in the big ones to Rum. Big, massive supporter of the channel. We are about to move on to the attack, but Dave, I was figuring maybe this could be a good time to
Just quickly, I think Kuva wanted to come in there just quickly.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
I
sorry,
was just
Kuva.
going to say whether we say it's Winks or Højbjerg the worst of the day, the one thing we will agree is collectively they were just piss poor compared to Southampton.
They equally, I mean, equal in terms of I guess we're comparing levels of dog shit. I guess that's what we're comparing. It seems like, which one would you rather pick up, from the ground? And it seems like one of us would rather pick up Winks's, the other one would rather pick up Højbjerg's.
Happily see both of them at the door, to be honest.
Wow, statement there.
Winks, yes. Holberg, no.
We need Højbjerg at the moment because he at least can put a shift in sometimes. He had a poor game yesterday, but he's capable of it. But long term, I just don't see him as a top 4 player. I mean, that's why he went from the likes of Bayern Munich to Southampton. It's not top quality. He's got some attributes that are useful at times, but not overall.
Controversial take here, especially with Ellie in the house. I'd watch her mouth there, Kuva.
Love Ellie, Love Ellie. She doesn't matter. We'll get a new hero in. She'll worship him as well. Ellie just picks up the team.
Just give us 2 seconds, guys. We're just going to remove you. We have to do a quick Manscaped plugged.
Already.
So we do. But look, guys, Valentine's Day is around the corner. So roses are red, violets are blue. Don't let a wild pube wreck you. Valentine's Day is just around the corner, and the sponsors at Manscaped are here for you. Before you take your partner away for that special Valentine's Day, why not make sure you prepare? Because like a wise man once said, fail to prepare, prepare to fail.
Ladies and gentlemen of the Irish Hotspur, it is the season of romance, and we just want to make sure that you're ready. With Manscaped's Performance Package 4.0, you'll have no stress with looking your best down under, everybody. The package includes the Lawnmower 4.0 and this electric trimmer that comes in that package, everybody, comes with advanced skin-safe technology that does reduce cuts and nicks and on those romantic jewels that you hopefully will have some time to use this February. It does come with the 4000K LED spotlight, so no Region sitters, no Steven Bergwijn sitters to be missed. You simply won't be missing, everybody. But Dave, with that electric trimmer, it does make scoring a whole lot easier. You simply can't miss.
And that performance package jacket also comes with that weed whacker. It is a nose and ear hair trimmer. And if you didn't think this package couldn't get any better, then Manscaped have included their very own ball toner and ball deodorant to keep your boys smelling fresh all day long.
And probably one of my favorite things, Dave, I'll be honest, is that the travel package, the travel bag that they give with you, Dave. It's an excellent sort of kind of shave kit. I've never really had a nice shave kit. Now with that, sort of performance package, they give you that shave kit for free. It's a beautiful little travel bag. It's kind of nice. It looks kind of, a bit more kind of mature, a bit more kind of adult, especially for someone like me. It also comes as well, Dave, with the anti-chafing boxers, which kind of like that Bentancur signing in the midfield, Dave. Already, my favorite pair of boxers, already the best midfielder in the entire bunch. So I will say, even the boxers alone are a reason to go over to Manscaped, Dave, to use that 20%. And also, don't forget, Harris Army, the Manscaped also want to help you look good and smell good in other areas with their signature scented refined cologne as well. So it's not just for the down under, it's also for the up top as well, that they can help you smell good, everybody.
Manscaped created their products for nights just like this.
And get 20% off and free shipping with the code FLATCAP at manscaped.com. That's 20% off with free shipping at manscaped.com, and use the code FLATCAP, Harris Army.
Join Cupid and shoot your arrow with Manscaped this Valentine's Day. So there you have it.
There you have it, everybody. End of the Manscaped promo. Like I said, it's Valentine's Day. Head on over to Manscaped and get that 20% off using the code FLATCAP. Just quickly, I would even say as well, one of my friends, somebody at the Harris Army, did even tell me that I think even recently they got a total of like 60% off, because there are some other deals that they're using as well. So you can use the FLATCAP deal on top of that and get close to well over half off, I would say, everybody. So use Manscaped on yourself, everybody, on behalf of the Harris Army. Really do thank Manscaped, though, for sponsoring this episode of the Player Ratings. But we do move on to Jerome's super chat, where he's saying Højbjerg's passing was poor. I'll admit that, but Winks was constantly flat on his face, making space for Southampton. I think this is almost directly pointed towards Kuva here. So Kuva, he is admitting that maybe Højbjerg's passing was poor that night, but Winks was, falling all over the place with the Gerrard slips.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I'm certainly not going to say Winks was good. It's just an argument on who was worse, isn't it? It's kind of pointless in a way, but yeah, each to their own. I mean, for me, I always look at the quality of the football first. If you're giving the ball away so easily, I think Conte was actually enraged with Højbjerg at one point. Didn't have a bit of an incident kicking the water bottles and stuff. You could see why. I certainly saw why he pulled him off. If you like, the big up for Højbjerg was say it was out of character. He's not usually this bad.
Yeah, it's maybe not.
Whereas Winks, you kind of expect it every few games, don't you?
Well, Winks is in that little patch of form, but I feel like the last few games, Winks is also like, it's not like all of a sudden Winks dropped off a cliff though, too. I feel like Winks's form has also been kind of dropping yet again. And now we've seen a real kind of like, moment of just bad form from him. But Winks had that good little patch. But I think the warning signs were showing up again, and hence why maybe David and I did not jump on that train of maybe believing all of a sudden Harry Winks has come good. He's also turned everybody 26. The guy is like a year and a half younger than Bentancur. I mean, we still treat him like he's a child. We still treat Harry Winks like he's a child. Like there's, again, the fact that we still think there's some player in there. The guy's been here since he's a kid and he's 26. I genuinely just, I mean, what we're seeing is what we're getting. What we're seeing is what we're getting. What was that
golden boy we used to have? He ended up going to Swansea, I think it was.
Tom Carroll.
Yeah, it's Winks is like looking at what Tom Carroll would have been if he stayed.
Yeah. Look, we got rid of Tom Carroll at 24, and he was the next big hope. And now Harry Winks is in there, and it's the same thing. But Tom Carroll was actually better than Harry Winks. He scored goals. Tom Carroll. He had a couple of goals. And, for me, I thought he was actually better than Harry Winks. He was more confident on the pitch than what Harry Winks was for sure.
Interesting there. There you are. But Jerome, do really appreciate support. And, good little reply, hopefully, from Kuva. And Tom Carroll was even better. There's your take there, Jerome. There's your take. But we do move on, everybody, now to the attack. With Sonny. Sonny, I've given here a 6, mostly because he had a hand in kind of to degree both goals. Like he ended up scoring the second goal, and the first goal he was there to either tap it home. It ended up being an own goal, but you would probably say that he would have tapped it home anyways. A really poor touches though, I would say, from Sonny. Really poor touches. A lot of given away opportunities. A lot of moments where you kind of thought, okay, Spurs, this is a good opportunity to get something out of this. This is a half chance, 3/4 chance. Moments where you're kind of thinking Spurs should probably capitalize on this. And Sonny ended up blowing it a few times, but I've given him a 6 just because he took a part in both goals and also really worked hard for it and really seemed desperate for that goal, which I was happy he got because I knew he was hungry for it. So for me, I've given him a 6. I could see why you could give him lower than that, just for maybe the missed sort of opportunities and kind of poor touches. But to give him lower than a 5, I think was way too harsh. So I've given him a 6. David's given him a 5.
Yeah, look, I thought a lot of the times he was poor on the ball when he was on it. But at the end of the day, like you said, Jack, if he didn't put the pressure on that defender, that own goal wouldn't have happened. And, he took the second goal well. What I will say about that second goal actually is if you look at it, it was a Lucas, Son and Kane link up for that goal. When you're looking at that, if you're Conte, you'd have to be happy with that. The fact that your 3-4 players are linking together to be able to create that goal. You got to be happy with that. And that's probably a positive you can take from that. But yeah, look, maybe I was a bit harsh with a 5. I probably would up it to a 6 when you think about handing both goals. Maybe I would have liked them to be a bit better on the ball, but you also do have to look at the quality of the ball that was coming into them at times as well. So, yeah, I think 6 is fair, Jack. I'm sorry I gave him a 5, actually.
I think the 6 is plenty more fair. And Potomac, I mean, it's not one heavy touch. He, in fact, gave the ball away at least 4 separate times, and it's just what the stats say as well. And if you did actually, watch the match, I think you could see that as much as we love Sonny, there weren't as many good touches as maybe we're probably used to and probably what we do expect of him. But I think, Son, I'm not worried. He's still got the goals at the end of the day. I'm certainly not worried. And I don't think anybody else really played any better in the front three. Maybe Lucas, I might make an argument for, actually played better. And I've given him a 6 as well as giving Sonny a 6. But I don't know. Maybe I didn't get Kuva and Dermot's opinion on Sonny. I've given him a 6. Would you guys give him a 6? I feel like a 6 is plenty fair. I don't really see a 7s has come around, with some people in the chat. I'm not really sure. I feel like if maybe a few things had gotten better for Sonny, maybe a 7. But for me, I think a 6 is plenty fair.
Yeah, I'm happy with a 6. He's doing his job. He's scoring a goal and getting involved in another goal. He's not been on form for a while now, but he's getting by. He's getting by. It's just a question of time with Sonny. It always is. He hits a purple patch at some point. Then the goals start flying in, and he looks world class when he does it. We could do that pretty soon, really, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Hermit, for you, 6? Unmute, my man. Unmute, Dermot.
You're on mute, Dermot.
I would give him a 5. I'll go with Dave. I don't think Dave should change it. I mean, I agree with Dave. I mean, he had his good points in the game, but he hasn't really been on it for the last few games. I know he's coming back from an injury, but he didn't excite me last night. So I'll give him a 5, and I know it sounds a bit harsh, but he didn't give me that excitement when he gets on the ball. He didn't sort of run. He just, I don't know. There was something missing from his game last night for me personally. So, yeah, so I'll give him a 5.
There you are. 5s and 6s. It seems like not the best sort of display from Sonny, but certainly not the worst by all means, of the 11. But William Kelly in here with the big super chat saying, all good, crisis averted, garage back up and running. I didn't do a winks on it and give up. Stayed on the course and got my work done. Lesson to be learned. Don't give up and never run and hide, Winksy style. Jesus, I need a drink. Dave, if you keep your mind to it, if you keep pressuring, if you keep the intensity, you won't back down. You'll keep that clean sheet. You'll be able to do what William Kelly's done here and be able to repair anything that's gone wrong.
No, look, William, he's a very handy man, very good with wood and laying floors and stuff like that. And I have no doubt he was able to fix that garage himself without having to claim off maybe the insurance or something like that, which would do him in the long run because it means his insurance would be higher. But 100%, my man, very good, good life lesson there was to not give up. I mean, even if something's not going your way, what do? Give up, sit there and cry till it's over? You just keep going until it's over. You just got to keep going. And big up William for doing that. And my man, crack up and get down to your pub and get a few pints of cold Guinnesses on off the tap, my man. That's what I'd say to you. It's well earned, William. Well earned.
Yeah, well earned, William.
If he's with you. Big up Luke if he's with you.
I'm glad the crisis was averted, William. I'm glad the crisis was averted. Big yourself up, brother. Do appreciate the big one as well. But William Kelly, let me know, though. I mean, it seems like, it's a bit of a debate, maybe when it comes to the forwards on some of these ratings. A lot of different ones. But William Kelly, do appreciate it, my man. But, guys, I've gone for... Dave,
William's going rogue. No wonder why he sat there and fixed that all day, because he had no insurance, William. That's why, William. Insurance, you need it, my man. Get it. It takes half the workload off your brother.
His insurance, I think Dave was just taking the day off that day and then just coming back to it, the next day to take care of it. I think that's what that's what the insurance is. But
think his van says Trotter independent trading on
it. But Lucas, for me, I actually thought also like Sonny gets a 6 here. I mean, played a hand in both goals as well. He played that ball in behind well to Højbjerg. I thought it was a clever ball in behind. Also played that ball across the 6 to Sonny for the tap in. Kind of anonymous throughout the game. I thought Lucas, similar to maybe Sonny to a degree. But at the end of the day, similar to Sonny, played a hand at both goals, and I feel it gets a 6 for that. For me personally, I don't really know what else I really need to say other than he directly, absolutely played a hand in both goals by giving that pass into Højbjerg and then also playing that ball in for Sonny. A bit anonymous apart from that from Lucas for me, and wasn't so great, but still, maybe came through with a bit of production when we needed it. So I don't know. Dermot, I mean, what are your thoughts? Lucas, I actually don't think was that bad of a performance, just kind of anonymous and actually ended up playing a part in both goals for me.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Jack. I mean, he wasn't bad, but he wasn't great either. But he got involved in the 2 goals. He's been seen off the ball recently. I don't know what's wrong with him. He doesn't seem his normal self. I would actually give him a 5, like Dave. I don't think he was good enough for a 6, though we did create the 2 goals. I mean, the second goal that Son scored, that was beautiful. All one touch sort of passing sort of thing. Started between the 3 of them, so they can work together. But nothing really special, just keeps running into players, keeps running in. Instead of passing it, he tries to take it an extra step, which he shouldn't be doing. He should be having it. If he can't run, then get it off to somebody who can get the ball into a better position. So, yeah, I will give him a 5. Again, another player that gives his all, good or bad. He still gives his all for the shirt. So I'll give him a 5.
I could see that. I mean, there it is. 5 from Dermot. Dave, do you want to explain maybe your 5?
Not really, no. No, look, when it comes to it, look, he had the assist for Sonny's goal. Well worked between him, Son, Kane and Lucas. Yeah, he played that ball in beside Højbjerg. I'll be honest with you, he done a lot of chasing shadows down that right-hand side, to be fair to the guy. Look, you seen it when Kulusevski came on, maybe he switched off. If Lucas was there, would Lucas have switched off? Maybe, probably not. I just expect more from him. The reason why I give him a 5, Jack, is because at one stage he got the ball, he had his head up, and I'm like, okay, he's got his head up. What are you going to do with it? He ran straight into 4 players.
Yeah, I remember that.
I'm sitting there and I'm going absolutely ballistic. I'm like,
I remember that.
Fuck me, man. Jesus Christ. I mean, pick your battles. You're running through 4 players. You look for a pass, go a different direction, but you're running directly into 4 players. You're just giving the ball straight back to them. What are you doing? And for me, that still pisses me off. So, and it's still fresh in my head because it frustrates me. So he's getting a 5.
Just for that haunted memory. Seems like we covered Lucas here, unless Kuva, you have any revelations that haven't been said, regarding Lucas here?
No, I think the attacking contributions that he made, involvement in both goals.
He had more involvement in both goals than I think anyone else on the pitch.
I mean, for that point, you'd look at a 7 out of 10, but then you look at the rest of his game, it's probably only about 4 out of 10.
That was my logic with Sonny, kind of. As
well. So 5, 6, somewhere around there, 5.5, whatever. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
All right. Well, there you are, everybody. 6, it seems like, from Lucas for a 5. One of the 2. Seems like no one's going to put up a fuss about it. But Harry Kane, I've given a 5. Dave's given a 5. I think the reason being here is the same logic as last time, where Lucas and Son actually, at the end of the day, had a hand in both goals. Couldn't really say that with Harry Kane. Maybe the first goal, he played that ball, I believe, into Lucas, who then played it into Sonny.
Yeah.
But really, apart from that, Harry Kane, a bit anonymous. Didn't really play bad or poor, but not really, just didn't really step into the game and wasn't also really spraying the passes in the way that we always want him to as well. So not really the best that we've been used to in the last few games, I would say, of Harry Kane. So I would say a 5. The other 2 6s for me. And so just a 1 point difference between the 2. But Dave, you've also given a 5.
Yeah, I'll be honest with you. I want to change that to a 6 because when I look back over the game, he actually did have a lot more of an impact than what people may actually think. Look, he didn't score. I know it's disappointing, but what he did do, especially for that Lucas and Son goal. If he didn't drop deep to pick up that ball, that goal does not happen.
Yeah.
It does not happen. The fact that he dropped deep, picked it up, and put in Lucas, that's what kind of really creates that goal. It's an easy ball for Lucas to put across for Sonny. It's easy. It's the easiest ball in the world. There's no one near Sonny. But what Kane done is the hardest part of that goal, which is dropping deep to receive that ball, turn, and slide it in. I actually think, a lot of Harry Kane's passing was decent yesterday, but I think the reason why I probably gave him a 5 is because he wasn't at the level he was at maybe against Brighton or maybe Leicester or Chelsea. But by no means was he the worst player on the field yesterday. I thought he was definitely maybe one of the better ones for sure.
Interesting. Kuva, what are your thoughts? Kane,
I'm glad David chimed up then, because I was beginning to think I was watching something different. I rated him a 7. I actually thought he was quite good with what he did. But again, he's being forced back into midfield because there's nothing there. Absolutely nothing there. If he wasn't doing that, our entire attacking outlet would have been Reguilon. How many chances would we have had then? 3?
How many times did Kane actually get the ball and put out to Reguilon as well, though, Kuva?
Yeah, that's fair.
And not only was he having to drop deep, he was also having to combat the Southampton midfield still on him. I mean, they're all over the whole midfield. No support around him. He's trying to pick off those worldy passes the whole game. He wasn't as effective as he has been in some other games doing that, because Southampton were at it, and none of our other midfielders were supporting him in any way. But I thought he had a good game. He's just up against it. What else could he do? If he didn't drop back, he wouldn't have seen the ball at all.
Yeah, 100%. I just want to echo just quickly what Kuva said there. Is like you could see it when Bentancur came in. Straight away, Lucas, Son, Kane up higher, making runs in behind. When Bentancur wasn't doing that, Harry Kane was dropping back in. Even Son and Lucas at times, to be fair, were dropping deeper and deeper and deeper to all try and get on the ball. But when Bentancur came in, think about it. First pass he done, outright to Lucas, who was already on his bike making that run. We did not see any of that sort of movement before he came onto the pitch.
Interesting. Dermot, for you, 5, or do you feel like it goes higher than that or lower than that? Some people have gone lower than that.
I mean, last night I actually gave him a 4 because I thought he wasn't great. But I looked at the game again. I've listened to the arguments you and Kuva have put forward, and I will give him a 5. I would agree with you. If he had to drop back, I think that's where, for me, that's where his bad performances come from, because he has to keep dropping back in the midfield all the time. There's nobody there. If Kane was allowed to stay up the top, we would get more goals. But because we've got nobody in midfield to give him the ball, he has to find it. And I think that takes away from his game. But you could say that could be Winks' fault, Lucas's, and Son. They should be giving him the ball. I didn't think he had his great game last night, but I'll give him a 5. At push, I'll give him a 6. But, to me, if I was to nail me down to 1, I'll go 5.
Interesting. Yeah, I could see it. Seems like a 5 from the Harris Army as well on that one. Just quickly, everybody, Bentancur and Kulusevski. Dave and I have gone for 6s on Bentancur. I thought Bentancur was the best of the midfielders, probably hence why he gets maybe the best rating of the midfielders for this one. And Kulusevski, probably a bit disappointing, maybe. I think I might give Kulusevski to Dermot and Bentancur to Kuva. Dermot, it felt like Kulusevski, bit disappointing from him. Maybe not, like, kind of left a lot wanting. It felt like he didn't really help us in any way. It wasn't really, bringing anything forward that we would have liked.
Give the lad time. He's only just joined. What's he, 21? Or is he 21, 22?
Yeah, 21.
Imagine going out in a 60,000 seat stadium at 21. I mean, I know I'd be nervous. And I don't know how you would feel, but personally, I know I'd be very nervous. He's got great potential. Give him a chance. He tries, and that's all you can ask for him. He's come out in the FA Cup. He tried. He nearly got an assist when he came on in the FA Cup against Brighton, and last night he tried. So I would give him a 5. I think by the end of the season we'll be raving about this kid.
There you
I
are.
really do.
I think a 5 is actually fair. I actually think a 5 is probably more fair, actually. Kuva, though. Bentancur. Everybody's loving Bentancur. Each debut, each cameo he's had. People have been very impressed so far. He's hit the ground running, I guess, for a lot of fans.
Not bad for a Juve bench warmer, like most people
Not
call
bad
it.
for a Juve bench warmer.
It was that underwhelming signing we thought we needed, wasn't it? I remember the three of us having a conversation about this. He came on. He's a midfielder. He's a class midfielder. I would have given him an 8. He was the best player we had. So totally changed the way the game was going. Directing people about, seeming to help players to play their role better. Picking the passes out at will. He doesn't get knocked off the ball. He's just absolute quality.
Yeah.
One of the best signings we've made.
Yeah.
Well, in recent years, anyway. Yeah. So
for sure, it's not hard considering you look at Steve Hitchens' 19 signings, is it?
Yeah. Could I just have one very quick comment on Kulusevski though?
Work away.
He reminds me a little bit of Lamella at the moment. When he first came, he looks a bit lost. It's a bit of a worry, but let's hope he turns the corner very quickly because we need him to.
Can I just have a quick word on Benny? I love him. I absolutely love him. That pass he made to Mora, that diagonal pass, he was only on his first second. That reminded me of, I was watching an own match, reminded me of Glenn Hoddle swinging that pass across the field and dead on. It went straight into Lucas's path. I mean, he's going to stick him in that midfield with Holberg and Skippy. Them three, we've got a midfield for the next 5-6 years. We've got the best midfield in the Premier League once it all get going.
Wow.
Yeah. Interesting. I definitely agree with Bentancur. I think the guy's absolutely quality. Look, he's always on the half turn, which means he can decide which way he wants to go. He can see what's going on. He can see the movement and the passes. And look, let's be honest. I'll be honest. I mean, I nearly had a wank looking at him playing yesterday. Just honestly, we've been that deprived in midfield that seeing someone that actually looks like a footballer in midfield, who moves like a footballer, has a control like a footballer, passes the ball like a footballer, not awkward. It really does give me confidence going forward once we can get him in the midfield. But look, guys, there is the player ratings. But I do have one question for everybody. Sorry, Jack, have you anything before I get on to the last question?
No, well done there, player ratings wise.
I do quickly have one question for everybody. And look, we'll start with Dermot. I'll ask Dermot the question. Dermot, give us your answer and then plug Tottenham Tantrum Gold. And then we'll move on to Kuva and Jack. So Dermot, Antonio Conte blamed the mental instability within his Tottenham squad for the 3-2 defeat to Southampton last night. What did he mean by that?
This has been something that's been going on for a few years now. We're not mentally strong enough. We're in the league. We should have been mentally strong enough to, stump up, park the bus, we protect this. They're not mentally strong enough to do this. And we're going to get caught again until some of them players fuck up their ideas, and start doing what the manager wants. It's the same under, it was the same under Poch, it was the same under Mourinho, same under Nuno. Any bit of pressure, we crumble. And it's not good enough. And Conte has seen it. And I'd say he'd be pulling his hair out last night watching that. That's why I said we haven't got the mentality to hold on to a goal lead for 20 minutes. So, I think that's what he was trying to get at. And I think it's also a dig at the board. I cannot work with some of these players. And I think it's going to be the same between now and the end of the season. There'll be little digs in every press conference. Mentality, work rate. Everything else will be little hints. I need players that if we go 1-0 up, we can shut up shop. It's what the Italians have always done. And that some of them players are not mentally strong enough. So I think that's what he meant by that, personally. As for Tottenham Tantrum Gold, you can find us there every morning. half 11 with myself, Kuva, Ben, and Hollywood Phil, who's away on his holidays this week, somewhere in the Northern Lights. And yeah, we just go back, talk, see old games. We talk everything Tottenham from the past up to the present. So it's like four lads in the pub having a crack over a few pints and just talking about Tottenham yesteryear. And we've got a Bill Nick show coming up and the next week or so that we're doing. So I'm really looking forward to that one. I cannot wait to do that one. And yeah, you can find us there. We're trying to get to 400 before the end of February. So that's our momentum at the moment. That we're over 350. Let's get to 400, and I know we can. But everyone, please like, subscribe, hit the bell in this channel, hit the subscribe button on Jack's channel as well. It's been a great pleasure, and thank you both very much for having me on this evening. I've really enjoyed it.
No, it's been great to have you on. I've really enjoyed having you and Kuva back on. I have to say that. But everybody, please do get over to Tottenham Tantrum Gold and smash that subscribe button. It's all about the glory days, the days where we win, where players were absolute men, you know. So please do get over there, smash that subscribe button, and join in the conversation. Share your memories of Tottenham from the past, your favorite memories, things you remember. Put it to these guys. So please do get over there and smash that subscribe button. Kuva, where can same to you? Not where people can find you. I'll let you plug Tottenham Tantrum Goal as well. But you know, Conte blaming the mental instability. What do you think he means by that, Kuva?
Well, instability suggests that it's up and down. So if you look at the two games, us throwing away a 2-1 lead against Southampton, unable to defend that, and being disappointed about not having the strength for that part of it. But then you compare it with against Leicester, for example, the game's lost. We still kept the mental strength to go into injury time and pull the result out of that. It's just an incredible contrast. And I think what Conte wants more than anything else is consistency. So he wants that sort of high level all the time, not sort of pulling the win out of nothing at the death and then throwing things away with 15 minutes to go. He needs us to stay solid, stay controlled, stay focused. And it's just too up and down for his liking. That's certainly how I read it anyway.
Yeah, I think you're correct there. I think you're absolutely spot on there. I think you've nailed that, Kuva. And look, anything to add about Tottenham Tantrum Gold that maybe the head honcho down there left out?
Just that it's more fun than watching the football we have nowadays. Glenn Hoddle for a start, Paul Gascoigne. Who doesn't want to watch them? Bit of Gary Lineker, why not? Garth Crooks, yeah, we've got some of that. Let's go back further. Bit of Jimmy Greaves,
yeah.
Bit of the double side, why not? We've got all the classic matches. I mean, it's our history. We should love it. We should be as familiar with those players that won the double as we should be with the current team.
Yeah,
it's what this club's all about. Some of the best quotes we have are from the likes of Bill Nick and from Danny Blanchflower. Get into it. Read the history of the club. Learn all about it. Don't just sit there taking what we've been spoon-fed for the last 20 years under Enoch. Times were way better than this. That's what we're all about anyway.
Yeah, and also it was Danny Blanchflower's birthday today, so happy birthday to him wherever he's watching.
The historian. Big up, Dermot.
Yeah.
And just quickly as well, I mean, I do advise people to get over and check it out when they show the games, because I was on there one day and I remember saying something to one of you, like, you know, just where it was like a simple piece of control. It was like a control on the outside of the boot. And it was a difficult ball in, and you're just like, well, players just can't do that nowadays. You know, that it's like some of that stuff that was basic back then. It just can't. You just don't see them doing it nowadays. But please do get over there and check it out. It's an amazing, amazing channel. I really do like it. I think it's very underrated, and it tells you everything you need to know about your history. So please do get over there, check it out, and smash that subscribe button. You don't even have to type it in. The link is here in the chat. Just click on it, subscribe, and then come back. So big up everybody who gets over there. And last but not least, and they do say, Jack, you do save the best to last. So where can people find you, my man?
Find me on the second channel, flatcapeurotalk. New video that I know I'm going to come out with very, very soon. Everybody probably going to release it tomorrow. I'm going to look at all my under 23 sort of talents that I identified at the beginning of the season, see how they're doing, going to kind of babysit on them and check in on them, see maybe what I got wrong. Funny enough, what's kind of crazy, one of the ones I did identify from La Liga was Emerson. And lo and behold, a week later, we ended up signing the guy. And, probably not going to be too great of a report maybe on how his progress has gone this season. But lots to head on over for Flat Cap Euro Talk. Please, everybody, really close to that 1K. Really do appreciate support I've already been given. Do check it on out because there's lots of content coming. Also, because next week, everybody, Champions League is back. So there's definitely no place to be other than Flat Cap Euro Talk for that one.
Yeah, and everybody, again, look, I'm going to keep repeating this. Jack puts in so much time and effort over on this channel as well and still finds time to squeeze out videos on Flat Cap Euro Talk. Don't know how he does it. Probably using his time better than what I am. That's what I would say. But please do get over there and, check it out. Smash that subscribe button. The guy is so close to 1,000. He can almost feel it. So please get over there and make that dream a reality. Get over there and smash that subscribe button and let's get the Flat Cap Euro Talk to 1K. Just 2 super chats to talk about before we do end off. William Kelly says, I don't want to make assumptions, but I'm concerned about Kulu. Bentancur is in my dreams every night. Look, I understand the concern about Kulu. I do. What I will say is I don't really want to judge the guy at 40 minutes. He's been here a week. I think it's too soon to judge him. But with what we have seen on the pitch, I can definitely understand the concerns. I do understand it, but looking at him, I don't know if he should be playing on the right. Me personally, look, I know he played there a bit for Juve and stuff like that as well, but he's always wanting to cut in on his left foot, and eventually he is going to have to learn to trust the right, because with the amount of analytics in the game and the folders that the players he's up against will be given on him straight away, that'll be picked up. He likes to cut in left all the time. He doesn't trust his right foot. Show him inside, take the ball off him. So he will have to learn and adapt. But look, Bentancur, he's one of the most hottest properties at 21 years of age around Europe. 21 international Swedish caps as well. I've watched him play in the Euros. He's a good player. He will come good. Trust
Bentancur, or Kulusevski, you mean?
Oh, Kulusevski, sorry. Kulu. Look, when it comes to Bentancur, I don't even need to talk about that guy. That guy's class. You can already see it.
That guy's in the dreams. Yeah, you don't even need to talk about. Probably talk about him less, so he doesn't show up in the dreams again tonight, Dave. But William Kelly, pick yourself up. He also says you can find Kuva talking about flying sharks and seagulls with holes in their necks over on Tottenham Tantrum Gold.
Friday nights, anything goes. It's not always football related. It's just stupidity. Big wind down from the stresses of the week.
Looking forward to it. There you are, everybody. That's what you should look forward to tomorrow night. But William Kelly, do appreciate it, my man. Really do appreciate all your support for the channel, as well as William McKenzie tonight. Really always appreciate your support for the channel. Really big ones. Jerome as well. Really appreciate all the super chats from Jerome, all the donations as well, and lots of others. Lots of others. But really do appreciate your support, everybody.
Yeah, well, look, guys, there we have it. A massive thank you to Jack, Kuva, and Dermot for giving up their time today to help create this players rating. A massive thank you to everybody who has tuned in, even though Arsenal and Liverpool and all have been playing. So big up to you. It does show that spurs me more to you, and I absolutely love that. And a big up to everybody who has helped support this channel financially. You really don't know how much it really does help us out in terms of everything that you pay for behind the scenes and stuff that people may not see, and in terms of what we want to do going forward as well. So it's an absolute massive help. So a massive thank you to everybody out there. Look, I know yesterday was disappointing. It was a hard one to take, a very hard one to take. But at the end of the day, now it's done with. Dust yourselves down. We spoke about it, dissected it. You just dust yourselves down, pick yourself up tomorrow, and let's go and feed them wolves. Let's absolutely stuff them. I'll be over there, and I'm going to make sure they are fed with the football into the back of the net. I can tell you that. But look, what day is today? Yeah, I should be on Saturday to see everybody before I do make the trip over over on Sunday. And look, you know, stay tuned on all the social medias. I'll let you know where we kind of end up, and where we'll end up having a few points before the game if people do want to come over and join us. But just quickly, make sure you do, again, reminder, Tottenham Tantrum Gold, please do get over and check that out, guys, on the Flat Cap Euro Talk. 2 channels you need to keep in the back of your minds. Come on, you Spurs. In Conte we trust.
In Conte we trust.
Levy
out.
out.